It's win and you're in for San Francisco. 49ers and Rams at SoFi Stadium. Old friends turned football foes. Shanahan and McVay with a playoff spot and a divisional title up for grabs. Hat and t-shirt game in LA. And in Jacksonville, the Colts win and they're in. Carson Wentz and Jonathan Taylor's postseason hopes on the line. The Jags win even if they lose. Playoffs are a lost cause, but they get the #1 pick in the draft again if Indy beats them today. Plus, in Baltimore, the Steelers need the Colts to lose that matchup, so they have a chance with a win in this one. Could be the final game of Ben Roethlisberger's incredible career. Ravens need a win and a whole lot of help, including a Chargers loss to the Raiders. They face up in Las Vegas, where it's a win and you're in scenario for both teams. Justin Herbert and Derek Carr with everything that matters on the line. It's time to get you ready for it all. Sunday NFL Countdown from NYC starts right now.
Be ready. Be ready.
What would you sacrifice to get the win?
Be ready.
Believe in each other. Trust each other. Play for each other.
For ya.
These are a playoff game.
Everyone has to be focused, dialed in.
Take care of this place.
The Raiders are a winning team.
Do whatever it takes to win.
Just win, baby.
They can take their hat and t-shirt combo. Touchdown. Orange killer.
It is indeed my last regular season game. They're going to be one of the important games of my career.
Winning season at stake, too.
Probably the most physical game you'll probably ever play.
And we have an incident down here with Antonio Brown.
Your brain's trying to figure out a lot of different things.
Same as last week, just come to work, and I don't care.
Welcome to Sunday NFL Countdown, presented by Snickers.
Well, this is it. Final day of the regular season. So much to play for still. The last playoff spot in the NFC will come down to either the Niners or the Saints. Niners are in with the win. And then in the AFC, the Colts clinch if they beat the Jags, and the final wild card in the AFC comes down to the Chargers or the Raiders on Sunday Night Football. It's going to be a fun one. We say hello from New York City. Welcome to Sunday NFL Countdown. I'm Sam Ponder with Randy Moss, Rex Ryan, Teddy Bruschi, and Matthew Hasselbeck. We won't say who's wearing the same suit from yesterday because we've had a lot of football. I wasn't going to call anybody out. We've had a lot of football to watch, and that starts with yesterday, early Chiefs and Broncos. I wasn't going to do it, but I had to. And then the Cowboys and the Eagles. Dak Prescott, yeah, he was going to start in this one, even though Jalen Hurts didn't. Opening drive, he finds Cedric Wilson. Matt, we saw a lot of that.
Yeah, and he looked amazing yesterday also. I mean, Dak Prescott, rest him, sit him. He was outstanding. Cedric Wilson was outstanding. Led the Cowboys in receiving, actually. Later in the drive, Prescott once again for a wide open Wilson. Why was he so wide open? Oh, maybe that.
Maybe
that was
That's
not
a
called.
foul on the defense,
Oh,
Sam.
of course you think that.
Official.
In the second, tied at 10, Prescott to CD Lamb, Randy.
Sam, it's all type of competition out on that field, man. There's only one ball to go around. Only 2 receptions yesterday, but this was one of his toughest catches yesterday. I like what I see coming out of Dallas in the air.
That was impressive. And then off his back foot to Wilson once again. That's for a 24-yard touchdown. The Cowboys would take the 17-10 lead. So then the Eagles get the ball after this. Dak Prescott feeling good, and so was the Eagles' running game, Rex.
Yeah, finally, I wanted to see a little more of that Eagles run offense, but they'll save it for the playoffs. But that's a nice play here by Kenneth Gainwell. Four running backs were out in this game for the Eagles, but they still managed to score against Dallas. Yeah,
still got it done on the ground, and we're tied at 17. So 2 minutes left in the half. Cowboys ball. Dak sees the Eagles offsides. Cuts it downfield to Amari Cooper.
Replay, Sam. No one's better right now than the Dallas Cowboys. Mike McCarthy used to do it with Aaron Rodgers. Dak's doing it better than he was even doing it.
And Prescott to the Stanford man, Dalton Schultz, for a touchdown. They would lead 23-17 after the missed PAT. Then a key moment here for the Eagles. Aaron Siposs whips on the punt, and the Cowboys would take over at Philly's 43-yard line with 24 seconds left in the half. Next play, Prescott to who else? Wilson once again over the middle.
Yeah, this is where, Sam, I think the Dallas Cowboys really started to feel themselves. They started to run away with the game a little bit. Dak Prescott still in the game. Dalton Schultz right there for a touchdown. They're starting to run away with it.
Yes, they would lead 30-17 at the half. And you're thinking, all right, they're going to pull Dak now, right? They're good to go. No, they would not.
Oh, another one has the back right there.
Another play.
And another throw to Cedric Wilson. What a night he had. 119 receiving yards, 2 touchdowns. Impressive night for the guy from Boise State. Same drive now in the fourth quarter. Dak Prescott, very fitting. You get a touchdown from the former Eagle, Corey Clement. And that would make the Cowboys go on to win 51-26. Ooh. A career-high 5 passing touchdowns in a game for Dak Prescott. 37 on the season. That would be a franchise record. Here's the Cowboys QB after the win.
Well, I mean, pretty cool to get a record like that. I mean, obviously knowing who's come before me and who's the play the quarterback position here before me. I'm just the beneficiary of a lot of hard work, great play calling, offensive line protecting, a bunch of different guys making plays. So
some of those decisions were you know, with the COVID stuff, were kind of made for me on that. As far as with Jalen, you know, we thought a lot about that, and you know, he's done a really good job these last 3 games, you know, playing within the pocket, and we've done a little bit less with running with him and everything like that. And so, you know, we just thought this was an opportunity to get him back to 100%.
In Dallas, you know, I've rested players, I've not rested players, and but we felt where we were as a team, first year in the playoffs, it was important for us to continue to play. So, you know, statistically, rhythm, pace of operation, you know, everything we were looking to accomplish tonight, we were able to get that done.
Well, you hear the explanation from McCarthy there, Rex. You kind of had a different opinion on what they should have done, especially in the second half. What do you think now that you saw it all together?
Well, I mean, you can't argue with the success that they had. And McCarthy's right, man. He wanted to get that rhythm going. He wanted to do all that. But, man, when you're seeing Dak Prescott in there in the fourth quarter,
a little scary,
throwing passes to Clement, who, you know, we're number 32 like my guy Dennis Thurman had. But it's like it was crazy to me. You're putting up 51 points. That's great. But everything went right for him. I mean, everything.
Perfectly.
And that's what I'm saying. So guess what? You're going to step up in competition. And that's really not the Philadelphia Eagles team. That's the B team. So we'll see what happens in the playoffs. It was interesting, 2 different ways of handling it. You talk, you know, Sirianni comes back and he rests his players. And we'll see who has more effect in the playoffs. Because guess what? If you don't win that first playoff game, Dallas, people are going to forget you hung 51 up on the Eagles B team. So we'll see what happens. I was shocked by it, but I will say this: Dak Prescott looked amazing.
It worked.
It was almost like a tune-up fight. So we'll see.
It was pretty cool though too, how he broke one of Romo's records. The offense broke a Cowboys record. Zeke Elliott got 1,000 yards. Cedric Wilson showed up, had 2 touchdowns, over 100 yards. So like you guys talked about, Randy, you talked about yesterday, momentum, and just that mojo, that swagger. Like they got it. So I think it was one of those things where if Dak Prescott was taking a beating, if he was taking a bunch of hits with the depleted offensive line, he would have gotten out of there quicker.
Right.
But since he didn't, it was like really, really well played by Mike McCarthy in Dallas.
Perfect night, because I believe emotion and momentum is so important this time of year. I mean, you've all, now they're all good. All the teams are good. They've all got talent, but how do you have that momentum going? Mission accomplished if you're the Dallas Cowboys, especially if, I mean, Dak's healthy, you didn't have any major injuries like that, but you just fix some certain things that you felt you wanted to fix. Feeling good about yourselves going into the playoffs, I feel is important. Now, all those players that didn't play, they're like, man, I want to get back now, because Van Der Esch making plays. I mean, he had an interception. They're sacking the quarterback. I mean, now it's like, let's go. We're ready for the playoffs.
You know, I had a lot of questions yesterday concerning the Dallas Cowboys and their weapons. Missing Michael Gallup. Pollard was out with a foot. I said yesterday, over the last 2 months, Zeke Elliott did not rush for 50 yards yesterday, 87 total yards. But if there's 2 weapons that stood out to me, I talked about the competition. There's only 1 ball to go around in Dallas, and CeeDee Lamb only had 2 targets with 2 catches. It has to be Dalton Schultz and Cedric Wilson, the performance that they were able to have. So you talked about Coach McCarthy talking to Matt, you talk about the momentum. You're talking about leaving your quarterback in. I'm leaving you in until we're satisfied about what we're seeing. We talked about the injuries, everybody battling real injuries and COVID also, but it was a good thing to see guys stepping up other than Cooper, other than Lamb, Zeke having 87 yards. So you're talking about going into these playoffs with some momentum and some confidence, your quarterback and your pass catchers. If you got something like that, the way this defense playing, Dallas Cowboys can make some hay.
Just real quickly, and Dallas Cowboys wide receivers had been dropping the ball. So you mentioned CeeDee Lamb with only 2 catches.
He caught both of them.
That one catch, though, is one of the best catches you'll ever see. In traffic over the middle.
Wilson being back now,
well
too.
done.
Gallup's out. Wilson showed that, hey, you can depend on me now, too. Actually, everything went well for them yesterday.
Yeah, they look like a real team, you know, and there have been questions about the Cowboys in the past. It would seem like the defense would be playing well and the offense not so well. They would only kind of had one side of the ball going.
They got that bet going.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Offense might have got
I think, well, yeah, 51 points will do that to you. Look, they were playing for momentum yesterday, sure, but also for seeding. They still have a chance to get the 2 seed. I'll give you, it's probably a small chance. They need the Rams to lose, the Cardinals to lose at home against the Seahawks, and the Bucs to lose at home against the Panthers. Time now to bring in our insiders, Chris Mortensen and Adam Schefter, for our top stories this morning. Good morning, guys.
Good morning, Sam. Dak Prescott and the Cowboys played with a purpose. Dak played into the 4th quarter. I don't think that Aaron Rodgers is going to play into the 4th quarter, but he will start. He's expected to play at least a quarter, maybe into the 2nd quarter. You would say, why? They have the 1st round bye. They have home field advantage. Well, Rodgers believes in momentum. He wants to stay sharp. It gives him a chance to play indoors at Ford Field against the Lions. And, oh, by the way, the Super Bowl this year is played indoors at SoFi Stadium on February 13th.
And how about Jimmy Garoppolo, Mort? Despite the fact that he's got a torn ligament in his thumb, he is expected to be out there today, starting for the San Francisco 49ers as they try to save their season with a win over their division rival Los Angeles Rams, who they've had great success against. Garoppolo and Trey Lance split reps at practice this week, but the 49ers are comfortable with where Jimmy G is at. And in the same game, despite the fact that he tore his Achilles in July, Cam Akers is expected to make his regular season debut. He won't get a lot of work today, but the Rams will ramp him up, and he will get an increased workload in the postseason. But the fact that Akers can make it back from a torn Achilles this quickly is a credit to him, and it'll be great to see another weapon for the Rams out there, Sam.
It is not. Good stuff. Thanks, guys. It is time now for our opening kick. What you're most excited to see on this football Sunday, Randy.
Man, Sam, Sunday night, let's take it to Las Vegas, man. Justin Herbert and these Chargers, he's bringing his basketball team, Allen, Mike Williams, Speedster, Guyton, Jared Cook, to Las Vegas. But if there's one player on this offense I want to highlight, it has to be Austin Eckler. The first game, they could not stop him. Defensive coordinator Gus Bradley have to be able to determine, do you want to play man or do you want to play zone? Either way, find Austin Eckler defense, stop him, Raiders, because if you don't, it's going to be a long offseason for you. If y'all want this game, man, go get it. Justin Herbert and his team is coming into town. Las Vegas Raiders, you ready for the Sunday night game? Can't wait to see you.
Moss, what about our guy, Mike Vrabel, okay?
Catfish.
How in the world are the Tennessee Titans now about to lock up the #1 seed with a win today? It's because of Vrabel and how he's got these guys wanting to run through a brick wall for him. We lose Derrick Henry, no big deal. We're going to still run the ball with Deontay Foreman. He's got 497 yards. And the defense, all right, since week 14, 7 interceptions from 7 different players. He's got everybody on this team believing, and they are about to have they've got a great chance of wrapping up the #1 seed today. Tennessee Titans, go ahead and get it out there today.
Hey, later in the show, I'm going to show you about that Tennessee Titan defense. But you know what? I'm going to flip it on the other side. This game right here, the Niners versus the Rams, part 2. This is going to be an incredible game. How can the Niners beat the Rams with that great pass rush? How about you run the football? They do it so well, and they got the formula, man. They ran the ball for 156 yards the last time they met, but Deebo Samuel and Elijah Mitchell have been outstanding for this football team. Ground and pound against that high-flying Rams team. You know who I'll take in this one? I always got to go ground and pound, don't I?
Yes,
Later in the show, you'll find out.
Well, the Saints are still alive, and usually when we talk about this matchup, it's Cam Jordan and the passing game of the New Orleans Saints. But it's really just the defense now. This defense, Dennis Allen has been unbelievable, especially in the last month. Teams are scoring less than 10 points a game. The Saints defense is carrying the team. That's exactly what's going on. So today, if the Saints are going to get in the playoffs, it's got to be more of the same. It's got to be Cam Jordan sacking Matt Ryan and Demario Davis and company doing their thing.
Let's go check in on your boy Mike Vrabel in Houston, trying to secure that #1 seed. Big question, though, when will he get Derrick Henry back? We've got a live report coming to you from Texas right after this as Countdown rolls on from NYC.
Wake up. Wake up.
Wake up. This is Sunday NFL Countdown.
Coming up, playoffs. Before the Raiders and Chargers start off with playoff spot at stake, we're taking you inside the Raiders roller coaster season.
Man, he's going through a tough time, but man, how does he have joy like that? You know, how can he still be a good teammate?
Plus, it's in and you're in. How the 49ers and Colts get done today. And before Big Ben's last battle in Baltimore, Ray Lewis is taking us inside his impact on the NFL's fiercest rivalry.
It simplifies every inch of what Ravens Steelers stands for.
And I've got a special edition of
You Got Moss.
the best catches from the college football season with the Natty on tap tomorrow night. And it's not just playoffs on the line today. Players also have incentive stake as they look for some straight cash, homie. We don't write checks on here, bro.
So here's your straight cash, homie.
All that more coming up.
This is Sunday. This is Sunday.
It's Sunday NFL Countdown.
Countdown is presented by Snickers. Maybe you just need a Snickers.
This week on NFL Prime Time. This is third quarter, and he is the man out of the arena. Chuba Missile Crisis, Chuba Hubbard. The banjo on my knee makes the throw, and then right in the beautiful Ward who makes the catch. Catch this week's NFL Prime Time, available now, streaming exclusively on ESPN+.
Well, it's the time of year the coaching carousel begins. We have breaking news this morning, and for that, we go back to Mort and Adam. What can you tell us, guys?
Well, Sam, no big surprise, but the Denver Broncos this morning did fire their head coach, Vic Fangio, making him the first fire in this period where we should see multiple head coaches being let go. Broncos general manager George Payton made the decision. Now, the Denver Broncos, after winning the Super Bowl 6 years ago, have missed the playoffs 6 straight years. And it's not really a Vic Fangio head coach problem so much as it's a quarterback problem. We said yesterday and still maintain that had the Broncos been able to trade for Aaron Rodgers during the offseason, I would say that Vic Fangio would have been a Coach of the Year candidate. But instead, they didn't. They went with Teddy Bridgewater and Drew Lock. And this morning, Vic Fangio gets fired from Denver, and now he is unemployed.
Thanks for the update, guys. Rex, you coached with Vic.
Yeah,
what do you think of this decision?
Well, first off, Vic Fangio is a great football coach, and people are going to be lined up to get Vic to run their defense for him. I mean, I believe that.
The Denver defense was good.
Yeah,
it was solid.
It really was. But it just goes to show sometimes, man, if you don't have that quarterback, that one piece, that's probably the biggest thing there is in all of team sports. The most important position is that quarterback position, and they haven't had it. They haven't got it right throughout the years, and unfortunately, Vic's gonna go because of it.
Yeah, and I think Adam said it perfectly well. I mean, the Aaron Rodgers thing is hanging out there because this team has everything else. They've got the defense, like you mentioned, Teddy. They've got great weapons on offense. They've got a running game. I mean, this would be, you mentioned people are going to be lining up for Vic Fangio as a defensive coordinator. I think head coach opportunity, like people would be lining up. This is a really attractive job if you could sell and maybe get one of these big time, I'm talking big time quarterbacks like an Aaron Rodgers, where you can get consistent quarterback play.
Let the drama begin. Okay? I mean, who's the quarterback going to be? Do you pick the next head coach based on who Aaron Rodgers wants to be working with? Are they going to cater everything to where there's backdoor communications in terms of what do you think about him? What do you think about him? Okay, let's get this all right so this can be done. This has been talked about.
And you see what happened in Tampa also. Players around the league league are willing to take less money as free agents to go play with certain quarterbacks. You've seen it happen where guys want to go to Kansas City, they want to go to Tampa. If, just hypothetically, if you were to land an Aaron Rodgers type guy in Denver, it would be the same exact thing. People would say, hey, I got a chance to go get a ring on my finger if that guy's my quarterback.
You know, you're talking about the Denver Broncos, but you got to look at their division. Look what they have in their division. You have Patrick Mahomes in that division. You have Justin Herbert in that division. You have Carr in that division. So you're talking about a head coach, you know, Coach Fangio, you know, been there for three years, losing his job because, you know, he didn't have that quarterback play. And y'all said whoever the next head coach is, and I do agree with that. Vic Fangio is a great coach, but the next head coach you bring in there has to be able to be an offensive-minded coach that understands how to get a quarterback prepared. If it's a veteran or a young buck, they're in the tough divisions that's full of some great quarterback play, and I'm looking for the next quarterback and head coach combination coming out of Denver.
Yeah, that's a huge deal. This is a team that hasn't made the playoffs since 2015. When you're talking about the Denver Broncos, something just doesn't sound right about that. But here's what I know from talking to guys around the league. This is a place you want to be. It's a great city. It's an organization that takes care of their players, first class all around. So I have a feeling there will be a lot of guys that want to join the efforts to turn this thing around. For more coaching news this morning, let's go back to Morton Adam, starting with the Vegas Raiders.
Yeah, Las Vegas Raiders are actually playing for a spot in the AFC West against the Chargers tonight. But Rich Bisaccia, he has the interim head coach tag, but he's somebody that Mark Davis, the owner, certainly has under consideration among other candidates. You've heard names like Jim Harbaugh. But Bisaccia is 6-5 since getting the job. We know what he's gone through with adversity with the John Gruden shocking dismissal, as well as the Henry Ruggs tragedy. So Rich Bisaccia likely out, but nothing definite. He's playing for a spot tonight.
And most people around the league expect that Chicago will be parting ways and moving on from Matt Nagy at the end of the season. There had been a report around Thanksgiving that he was going to be let go that season or that week. He was not, but most people believe it now will come once the Bears season wraps up and they will go into postseason meetings. One of the questions in Chicago, of course, is whether the general manager, Ryan Pace, will survive. That's another person to watch here, but Matt Nagy, I think most people believe, will not be back in Chicago.
Yeah, and league executives would say it would now be a surprise if Mike Zimmer, the Vikings, saved his job there. Not in the playoffs. He's had 8 seasons. He made the playoff 3 times. He's won 2 NFC North titles, but a year without a championship, and the Vikings are expected to move on from Zimmer after this game today.
And David Culley, there are questions about his future in Houston. When the Texans hired him, some people thought it was really because they couldn't get who they wanted. The roster was not set. And again, they guaranteed him 2 years worth of money. There'll be meetings after the season to decide his fate, and maybe it'll be contingent upon whether or not Houston can get the man that it wants for head coach. But clearly, David Culley's future is and has been in question throughout the course of this season.
Let's talk about the mystery of Pete Carroll in Seattle. Pete Carroll, their coach since 2010, all the success he's had, just a lot of dark clouds over Seattle, and they're not rain clouds. Pete Carroll, he's got a 6-10 record. First losing season since since they won the division and won 2 games in the playoffs. But Pete Carroll, John Schneider, the GM, they are seem to be on ice, even though he has an extension, Adam, as you know, through 2025, making good money. Jody Allen is the owner, and nobody has any really direct contact with her.
And let's take a look at some other coaches here. More. Jacksonville's already begun the interview process for other head coaching candidates. That process is said to be wide open, and it doesn't include Darrell Bevell, the interim head coach. Matt Rule will be back. That's what the Panthers are planning. He will return as the head coach. And the question is whether Joe Judge will be back. The team was planning a few weeks ago to bring him back. These last few weeks have not gone well, with Joe Judge holding an extended 11-minute press conference, calling other organizations clown shows, and exactly hasn't gone the way the Giants had hoped towards the end of the season, which will cause them to make a decision, Sam, one way or another.
Yeah, no doubt that presser didn't go the way he hoped either. Thanks for the update, guys. I know you'll keep us posted. Still to come on Countdown, the Patriots aren't out of the race for the AFC East crown. There's one player that has Teddy keeping an eye on to make a big impact today and set the tone for a Patriots playoff push. And today will be Big Ben's last game in Baltimore, but the Steelers still alive for the playoffs. Legends, both teams now the Steelers QB into the game.
He exemplifies every inch of what Ravens Steelers stands for.
In Jacksonville, believe it or not, a game that really matters for both teams in Week 18. The Colts win, and they're in the playoffs. And the Jags get the #1 pick in the NFL draft
It's a lot of different meaning there.
Yes,
Yeah.
there is. It's a win-win. Indy's favored by more than 2 touchdowns today in Jacksonville, but don't count out the Jags just yet. The Colts have lost their last 6 road games against the Jags going back to 2015. The last time the Colts won in Jacksonville, our own Matt Hasselbeck was playing QB for them.
Hey, go Matthew.
They can't pull off a big upset this year. They already did it. They beat the Bills as a 15.5-point underdog in Week 9, the largest upset of the season. So we're saying there's a chance our Jeff Darlington is in Jacksonville with the very latest. Good morning, Jeff.
Well, Sam, good morning. You know, a lot of times teams don't like to talk about losses behind them. In the case of the Colts this week, though, they've actually been leaning into last week's loss against the Raiders because they believe that that was a wake-up call. That's exactly what head coach Frank Reich said. He said this wasn't a death sentence, but it was a wake-up call. They know they need to win this game. T.Y. Hilton, the team's star wide receiver, said we're more focused this week than they were last week. So this is a healthy Colts roster. This is a team that knows that they should win this game. But like you said, the history here in Jacksonville has been a little bit weird. They cannot afford a letdown. The season is on the line. So talking to this Colts team, it does at least feel like they recognize the moment and they know they need to get this win today in Jacksonville, Sam.
Yeah, it's a big one, Jeff. Guys, the key for the Colts today is they're trying to obviously win this game, but still make a playoff run if they can do this. What's the key for them?
Yeah, 100%, Sam. And, you know, all year long, what do we say? Carson Wentz has to protect the ball, protect the ball. He's done a good job, especially on the road, of protecting the ball. What I think he needs to do, you can't miss on all those opportunities for big plays. So missed opportunities. When a guy is wide open, you have to hit him, being a consistent passer. And so when you're playing in this RPO game, which is what they love to do a lot of the time, where Frank Reich will call a run and a pass, and now it's up to Carson Wentz to be the distributor, be the point guard, if you will. If you decide not to give it to Jonathan Taylor, you better have a really, really good reason, and then you better hit the open guy. And I think that's where, if I'm being critical of what I've seen out of the Colts offense, they've missed open guys. So they're taking the next step. We went from don't turn it over to now don't miss open guys.
I still see Carson Wentz as being that quarterback you got to manage. I mean, like you're talking about, make sure he gives it to Jonathan Taylor. My perfect stat line for Carson Wentz today is this: 175 yards, 1 touchdown, 0 interceptions, all right? Jonathan Taylor goes out there and runs for 2 touchdowns.
How many completions?
Is it whatever it takes,
like
not
12
to throw.
for 17?
Yes, something like that. Under 20 attempts, 25 attempts. That's the way I think this team can actually make noise in the playoffs.
Yeah.
If you want Carson Wentz to be someone that's going to throw it 30+ and be able to do that, I don't think that's there. I mean, even the ricochet touchdown last week, boom, off of 2 defenders, and they're arguing because we should have caught that. Those type of things. Keep this man managed. And if you do that, Jonathan Taylor and that defense that takes the ball away, I think you can be off and running.
I'm smiling because there's 2 quarterbacks you still have trust issues with when it really matters. Jimmy G and Carson Wentz. Those 2 guys, I always know you're going to hedge your bets a little bit. I will say, in Carson's defense, it's been a strong year in terms of not turning the ball over. 26 touchdowns, only 6 interceptions. That's 3rd best in the league right now. We'll see how it goes on the road in Jacksonville today. If the Colts lose to the Jags, that opens the door for the Steelers and the Ravens, who play in Baltimore. Steelers would get in with the win as long as the Raiders-Chargers game doesn't end in a tie. Can't have that. It's a little more complicated for the Ravens, who would still need a win. Chargers loss and a Dolphins loss, even if the Colts lose. For more on this matchup in Baltimore, we send it out to Kimberly Martin.
Morning, Sam. Turns out the Steelers weren't at all surprised that Lamar Jackson had been ruled out. Safety Minkah Fitzpatrick told me the Steelers never expected Jackson to start today, so instead they spent the week prepping for his backup, Tyler Huntley. But Fitzpatrick told me he's actually disappointed that he won't get to face Jackson. He said Lamar just has that X factor, and I always want to face the best. Now, speaking of the best, edge rusher TJ Watt needs 1.5 sacks today to break Michael Strahan's single-season record. So I asked the former Steeler, current Ravens offensive tackle, Alejandro Villanueva, what makes TJ Watt so different from the rest? And he said, if a QB holds on to the football too long, TJ, he just knows it. And there's no way you can cover guys 10+ yards for more than 5+ seconds. It's just not going to happen. Villanueva also told me some edge rushers, they just stop rushing. But TJ, Sam, he never, ever stops.
Okay, first things first, Rex. You think he's going to get it?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
I mean, for two reasons. Number one, he is a phenomenal pass rusher. But this Raven offensive line is not exactly, you know, I mean, world beaters. So, yeah, it's going to happen. They average giving up almost 4 sacks a game. So, TJ Watt, I'll be shocked if he doesn't have at least 2 sacks in this game.
You know this matchup so well. What do you think determines the outcome of this game today?
Sam, it sounds crazy, but who hits harder wins. And that's always how we felt. Like Brew, we would go into games and we would talk about it constantly. Like, if you're going to beat them, man, you got to lay the lumber. And that's what it was always about. I remember sitting there talking to Mike Tomlin before games, and I'm looking at him saying, oh, it's on today. And he's like, you're right, it's on today, Rex. And we were talking the same language, man. Like, we all knew that it's going to come down to, like, this is old school, like, fist fight type of football game. And that's why I love it so much. And there's a lot on this line. Make no mistake. Okay, yeah, both these teams might not make it, but there's still that possibility. But this is much more than that, man. This is a pride thing, and it goes back years. Look, Ben Roethlisberger, his first game he ever played was against the Baltimore Ravens. I was on that sideline. We knocked the starting quarterback, no surprise. Knocked him out, right? and all of a sudden, here comes this big old rookie. We're like, this is going to be great. Uh-oh, we knew we made a mistake of knocking the starter out, all right, this kid. But now he comes back all the way around, and his last game is in Baltimore again. And I can tell you this, there's so much respect that everybody has for Ben Roethlisberger, even as an opponent. But, I mean, let's not get it twisted. We're going to try to pound him again today.
You know, the Steelers team, I seen them last week, Monday night, and it seems like the team, the organization, just rallied behind Ben. You've seen the tears, you've seen the emotion, and I expect the same, you know, this game, but what? They're on the road. So, you know, when I look at, you know, what Big Ben means to this rivalry, what he means to the game of football, you know, you sit up here and look at, you know, the offense. You look at a rookie and Najee Harris. You look at the pass catchers. You know, they had an up-and-down season, but I really do believe that this offense will come along and give Big Ben what he wants. If it's his last game or if they're going to the playoffs, whatever it may be, I look for a very fired-up team, Pittsburgh Steelers team. But real quick, let me talk about the Baltimore Ravens offensively of what I've seen out of Mr. Huntley in offense. Over the last month, there's one rookie wide receiver that's been showing out. We will agree. Jamar Chase, been showing out, been having a hell of a season, a hell of a month of December. But guess what? Mark Andrews, second in receiving over the last month, second to Jamar Chase. So I'm talking about what did Huntley bring to this offense? I said it a couple of weeks ago. Mark Andrews is the only consistent weapon for this Baltimore Ravens offense that's making some hay. Keep him hot. Keep Huntley. He's very accurate with the football. So we got Big Ben on the other side. We got Mr. Huntley on this side. This is a big game. A lot of people are not going to really look at this game, but Rex, you're talking about the hard-hitting game. We got these two quarterbacks. And Big Ben, if it's his last game, there's a lot of emotion around this game. I can't wait to see this one.
For sure. Huntley's been fun to watch.
Yes.
He's with a lot of confidence. Can't wait to see. Look, this could be an audition for him for a starting role potentially for next year. It'll be fun to watch. Let's go out to Baltimore, the game we're talking about. We know Rex will be watching this one. Deontay Johnson, his first 1,000-yard season this year.
Congrats, young man.
Tennis balls?
For Big Ben. How's that work, Randy?
That's hand-eye coordination, man. One thing about Deontay Johnson, if he led the league last year in drops, then he comes here 100 receptions, 1,000 yards, 8 touchdowns. He showed up big for the Pittsburgh Steelers, and I expect him to show up big today in Baltimore.
See if he can finish strong. Still to come on Countdown. It's about that time for You Got Mossed with the College Football National Championship tomorrow. Randy's going back to school. We've got a special edition of the best college catches of the season, and the Rams can clinch the NFC West with a win today against the Niners. But first, we'll show you what Matthew Stafford and Jalen Ramsey need to do to secure the division title.
They had the T-shirt combo.
I be like, sheesh, sunset on the beach.
Back to Sunday NFL Countdown, presented by Snickers.
Games different.
We could go through all of those 5 games. There's been a different reason.
I think we're one of the only teams that have ever beaten the Rams back-to-back times.
This is a tough 49ers team. We've lost the last 5.
How do you prepare
for a guy like Deebo Samuel.
Who?
When we play the Rams, Deebo always comes out ready to roll.
It's the most important game of the year.
Two teams that respect each other a lot. We go hard.
You know, we win the game, we win the division.
Some drama in this one. It's been all Niners since 2019, but the stakes have never been higher since these two head coaches took over. Shanahan 6-3 against McVay as a head coach, but today, old stuff doesn't matter. It's all about securing a playoff spot while the Rams try to win the NFC West title. So to break it all down for us, we bring in our favorite research producer, Evan Kaplan. Cap, what's left to be decided here?
Okay, Sam, so we've got 6 of the 7 playoff spots in the NFC have been clinched. The last one will come down to either the 49ers or the Saints. But you see this blue box here around the Rams? That means they've only clinched a playoff spot. They have not yet clinched the division. So there is a ton on the line today at SoFi Stadium between the Rams and the 49ers. And there's going to be a lot of scoreboard watching going on. So when we talk about the Saints are playing the Falcons, Saints still alive.
Yep.
If the Saints win and the 49ers lose, the Saints get that last wild card spot. So all those Saints fans are going to be paying close attention to what happens in that Rams-Niners game.
doubt.
But since the Rams haven't clinched the NFC West yet, that means the Cardinals are still alive for the division. So Arizona fans are doing the same thing. If the Cardinals beat the Seahawks and then the Rams lose, Arizona is a division champ. So the most important thing in this Rams-Niners game, Rams can get in with a win. The Niners get in with a win. Rams still have plenty to play for with the NFC West still up for grabs.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks, Cap. As you know, this one right here, this is not a certainty because the Cardinals have struggled a little bit at home this year. But let's get back to the Rams and bring in Matt and Teddy to talk about it. Yes, the star of the show. We know that. Let's talk about these Rams. Matthew Stafford, I mean, this is his first chance, well, not his first chance to get a division title. It would be his first division title in his entire career. So what do you need to see from him today?
Yeah, Sam, we need to see the Matthew Stafford who had the best QBR in the entire NFL for the first half of the season. That's what we need to see. What we've seen lately is not that. They added OBJ, so you think, hey, it's going to get better, right? QBR is going to get better. No, it got worse. Interception percentage got worse. Why? Because in Detroit, this is what would happen. Sometimes you play with a star receiver, you just throw it up to your star player and hope for the best. You don't need to do that on this Rams team, on this Sean McVay offense. Again, this is what we saw in Detroit. Throw it up to my star receiver, maybe something good will happen. That's not what got you success the first half of the season. What got you success the first half of the season was letting Sean McVay's offense work for you. They got weapons all over the place. This was in the first matchup against the 49ers. You got guys open. Maybe just throw it away. Let Johnny Hecker do his job. Not this. This isn't what we're looking for. And that's what Sean McVay has to get out of the system of Matthew Stafford. Get that Detroit out of you. You don't have to play hero ball. 3rd and 10, we got Van Jefferson wide open. Let the offense work for you. Don't do this. Again, I know OBJ's a great player. Use him in the red zone selectively, one-on-one, stuff like that. Not the 3-on-1. That's not it. Sean McVay, Sam, you asked the question earlier, can you change his stripes? Can you get that out of him? It's very difficult, but that's the job of Matthew Stafford and Sean McVay.
You got to trust the scheme. And that scheme can be very difficult to get ready for from a defensive perspective, but the San Francisco 49ers are very comfortable with it. They've seen it over and over. There's a reason why they've beat them the last 5 times, and that's players like Nick Bosa right here. They see the scheme. Offensive lineman tries to take off like that for the tear screen. Bosa knows it's coming. He's seen it before. Alters the throw just enough. Little bobble throw. Jimmy Ward has seen it too. He's there. They're always in position. Ball right in his lap, and he takes it back for a pick 6. We've seen these plays before. You want to try and put Cooper Kupp in the backfield. You want to try and do different things like this. Here's Cooper Kupp in the backfield. They try to motion him out to move Fred Warner out of there. But watch Freddie. I've seen this before. You're doing this just to run the football. I'm going to keep my eyes where they're supposed to be. Come on back. Make a nice tackle on the ball right there. I'm ready for this. I know what it is. So ready for the scheme and ready for your players. Havenstein, the offensive tackle. We want to attack him. Who do we attack him with? Nick Bosa, one of the best in the business right here. Eric Armstead lining up out here, goes inside. Bosa, that's not a wide 9. That's like a wide 19. He's way out there, outside in. Havenstein can't block him one-on-one. We know the scheme. We know your players. That's why we beat you 5 times in a row.
I can always tell how much you're feeling a defense by the amount of movement and energy when you're talking about them. I think you're liking them right now, and for good reason. Since they beat the Rams in that Week 10 game, they are only allowing an average of 17 points per game. Let's head to Cleveland. Not full strength for either team. Joe Burrow not getting the start. That means Brandon Allen gets his 9th career start. He's been Burrow's backup the last 2 seasons, his 5th year in the National Football League, trying to get a win on the road. Still to come on Countdown. Fans around the country fired up for another edition of You Got Moss. We got a special college football edition today. The national championships tomorrow. So we're going back to campus.
I think Randy Moss might put this on. You got Moss. You got Moss.
Oh my, Randy Moss separates the defenders.
Sir.
You got Moss. South Carolina, Georgia. Hey, we're not at Boise State. We at BYU. Oklahoma versus Oklahoma State.
You got Moss.
Number 84, Rex. I love that number,
He
Rex.
looks a lot like you, but twice the size.
You got Moss.
Double coverage and go up for that ball. You know what it is.
Welcome back to Sunday NFL Countdown, presented by Snickers.
Well, Nick Chubb's at home in Cleveland, getting ready to face the Bengals. That doesn't look comfortable. That's what he'll be doing today, but tomorrow night, we all know what he will be doing. I can't take that seriously.
Sam, that's strictly for the hips and low back. Stretch it out.
Okay, serious stuff. Sorry, Randy. Tomorrow night, I know what he'll be doing. That will be watching his old Georgia Bulldogs go Dogs sick 'em against the big, bad guys from Bama. That all happens tomorrow night. For a preview, we send it to Reese Davis. Reese Davis, Desmond Howard, and
Sam, thank you. Under the watchful eye of the Peyton Manning statue outside Lucas Oil Stadium, I don't believe there's a Manning cast for Georgia and Alabama, but if there were, given their Tennessee and Ole Miss ties, sure Peyton and Eli would be rooting for both teams to lose.
Look at that camp. Running the 40 here in Indy for the combine.
Sweet, right? Look at that. I'm going to keep using that joke, by the way, because it's true. We're right on the cusp of the national championship game. Let's make it simple. Georgia wins if.
Georgia wins if their defense can get to Bryce Young. In the SEC championship game, they registered 0 sacks and 4 TFLs. This is a group that established residency in their opponent's backfield during the regular season. They're going to have to make Bryce Young uncomfortable and feel their presence if they're going to win this game.
And Alabama wins if their stars play like stars. Bryce Young has to be a star, has to throw the ball to Jamison Williams. He's pretty good on the outside, too. Number 1's got to get involved, make those big plays. And then Will Anderson, the best defensive player in college football this season, has to dominate the game. Those stars got to be stars.
I talked to Nick Saban and Kirby Smart this morning. Both talked about how what happened in the first game has nothing to do with it, no history. But there is some history to overcome for Georgia. They've lost 7 in a row to the Tide. All kinds of coverage for the Dogs and the Tide Monday night.
I feel like we need to apologize to Nick Chubb and his family. We did him like that. I don't know that was for TV, but sure, we'll go with it. We're just stretching him out, right? That's
you
all.
need stretched out?
No, nobody wants to see that. It is time for a special college football edition.
I'd never get up.
You must. That is true. We got for us.
Well, yesterday we did the Mahomes edition, and we're talking about Nick Chubb and where he went to college, and it's only right to start out with either Georgia, Alabama. Man, I cannot wait to eat my popcorn and see this game tomorrow night.
All right,
Let's start off with number 5, man. UGA, Georgia Bulldogs in South Carolina. Deep pass, South Carolina's Josh Mann elevates and makes the catch over his defender. Hey, Mr. D. Kendrick. Hey, man, I see you. You don't have to make some plays.
Right
you
there.
got Moss. Rex, help me out.
Let's go Georgia Tech at Virginia. Look at the left. He's throwing it up there. Ooh, into double coverage. That's Dontavian Wicks makes that catch in the double coverage.
I see you, Wicks.
Jalen King and Zamari Wall. You got Moss.
Man, number 3, USC at Colorado. Past the USC standout wide receiver Drake London, who snags it over the defender.
That Drake London's going to be a first-round pick, they say, this year.
What that means, Mr. London, you're going to be seen on our Monday and Sunday countdown. Keep making them plays. Hey, Christian Gonzalez, you got Moss. Let's go to number 2, TCU.
At Oklahoma here. Look at this. Look at the jump ball up there. TCU's Quinn Johnson. He makes the catch.
He's too small, Rex.
He's too small, Randy. He's too small.
Disrespect.
Hey, Joshua Eaton, that is your fault, my friend. You got Moss.
Man, he said you're too small, my man. I see it. Last but not least, Oklahoma State versus Iowa State. Man, 5'8", Brandon Presley goes up. You've already been on this segment, but we highlighting the plays of the collegiate season. Man, I said it's not his size, Sam. It's his heart. Man, Team Young and Greg Iceworth. They are on our segment. They got
how I skipped the name of the last guy.
Why did you do that?
You do it. You know me. I'm dyslexic. I got no chance with that name.
We didn't have any Marshall or Florida State or what is it? Southeastern?
Southwestern.
Southwestern Oklahoma. Maybe next time, guys. There was a big game yesterday between a Texas Tech quarterback and a Mizzou quarterback. Yes, that would be the Chiefs taking on the Broncos. We start halfway through the second quarter as Patrick Mahomes is trying to get his team, well, stay alive for the #1 seed. Drew Lock, though, a strong start getting it done on the ground, Matt.
Yeah, it wasn't really through the air, Sam, but this guy took off not once but twice, got his team into the end zone using his legs.
Oh, and the fans.
L'Jarius Sneed, let me take this right here. Come on, Chiefs defense, this is how slow they started here, fellas. Right at the 1-yard line, turns it down. Oh, come on. We need some playoff tackling, Kansas City Chiefs defense.
Teddy's still mad about that. Early in the third, Chiefs down 14-10. And Patrick Mahomes actually finds Jarrett McKinnon.
Jarrett McKinnon was a difference maker when he came in the game right there. And it's funny, man. We haven't seen him for like 3 years because of the injuries, but man, this guy made a difference.
Yes, he did. Kind of bullied his way in there at the end. Later in the third, we got the same score, Broncos midfield, and lock to Melvin Gordon. What a run this was. 47 yards to the house, and the Broncos would be back in the lead, 21-17. Oh, a little dance there.
Little dance, and they were the bully. That run game of Denver, that was the bully most of the game.
They were.
For sure.
Sometimes you just need to make one play.
Hit the bully in the mouth.
Yes, it was a battle of the Melvins. Ingram won, and Nick Bolton took it to the house, an 86-yard touchdown. What a night for Nick.
Sometimes this is all you need, like I'm saying, guys. You're getting run on all game, but all of a sudden, Ingram, big play, Bolton to scoop and score. Nice job.
So then the Chiefs are up 28-24, and Randy Mahomes to McCole Hardman.
Man, we talk about this track and field team that the Kansas City Chiefs have. Tariq Hill was a little hobbled, a little slowed up. Man, give it to the next speeder. I see you, Miko.
And then he just put it away. Mahomes finds Travis Kelce, and that would seal the deal. Kansas City wins 28-24. They stay alive for the #1 seed in the AFC. The Titans can lock up the top spot with a win today against the Texans. You know, Chiefs fans will be watching that. But if they lose in Houston, the Chiefs would get the only bye in the AFC for a second straight year. That's a big deal. Our Ed Werder is live in Houston. So close to home for you, Ed. You probably could have just driven there. What's the latest on this game?
I found out yesterday, Sam, just how far Dallas is from Houston, and it's way too far to drive if it takes 8 hours to fly here. That's what I'm going to say. Hey, a team source tells me the Titans were not close to activating Derrick Henry for this game today, and head coach Mike Vrabel, who's out here on the field right now, told me if he was ready to play, we would have put him out there. We're going to continue to work, he said, and practice, and that's why they have the 21-day window. He said he just simply wasn't ready to come back, and that was an easy decision for the Titans today. If they do, so they'll finish the regular season with Henry, Julio Jones, and A.J. Brown playing together just 5 games, and they should still clinch the #1 seed. Fairly remarkable. If the Titans win and secure the #1 playoff spot, they provide Henry another 2 weeks and reduce the potential of being forced to begin the postseason without him. As for Julio Jones, he's back in the lineup, but yet to justify the trade made to acquire him. Maybe that can be achieved in the playoffs, but right now he only has a single 100-yard receiving game, and he's yet to score a touchdown in the least productive season of his 11 years in the NFL. He flatly said he's not frustrated, insisting statistics are meaningless, and he merely wants to win games. And Sam, with the challenges that they've overcome so far and the #1 seed theirs to claim, Vrabel is optimistic, telling me we're starting to play like I feel we can as far as being able to play our best football late, which he says is important. He said the teams that prove they can play their best football late, those are the ones that give themselves a chance in the playoffs.
Yeah, Ed, they've proven that they just find a way to win. It's not always the prettiest. They're usually missing some guys, and they just find a way. Matt, what's the key for them finding a way against Texas?
Well, they have a formula. They have a formula, and they have an identity. It's run the damn ball. That's their saying. That's their slogan. And they do it, whether Derrick Henry's there or whether Derrick Henry's not there. And Deontay Foreman, he was wearing 45 at the beginning of the year, changed his number to 7. I feel like it's made all the difference. Here he is in 45, and it feels like he came out of nowhere. But this guy's a really really good back. He was actually originally drafted by the Houston Texans, ran for over 2,000 yards at the University of Texas, and won the Doak Walker Award, which goes to the best running back in all of football. So they are feeding him, and he's a first and second down kind of guy. He's a physical north-south runner. It's a perfect fit. So this is his third team, and because of injury and other adversity, it hasn't really worked until right now.
You know,
he took advantage of a huge opportunity.
Well, you have to be able to give credit to Mike Vrabel and his staff. Offensive coordinator Tom Dowdy, and I spent some time with him, you know, throughout my career. And as a fan and as an analyst sitting here watching the Tennessee Titans, when King Henry goes down, we're like, uh-oh, where is the production offensively going to come from? So you have to be able to give kudos to Vrabel. Todd Downing, the reason why, Matt, you talked about Foreman. Don't forget about when they brought Adrian Peterson there. Julio Jones has been hurt. Brown has been hurt. So you talk about plugging guys in and still some way, somehow, you still got a chance at the #1 seed in the AFC conference. Man, kudos to that team. I know they're on the road today, but I can't wait to see how they come out.
It's about actions, though, especially as the head coach. It's like when Derrick Henry goes down, like you're talking about, Moss, okay, what are we going to do? Well, this is one thing. This is who we are. I mean, and this is just this is a sign of who Mike Vrabel is, okay? 8 games with Henry, 45% of the rush, 45% rush plays. 8 games without, 47%. Okay, watch this. With Henry, 147.6. Without, 137.4. So it's easy for the coach to say, we're still going to be who we are, fellas. I don't care. We lose Derrick Henry, the unicorn that he is. Yes. We're still going to be who we are. But still, tell your coaches, call it, run it. This is who we are. Don't lose our identity.
Were you skeptical about this team? As much love and praise if we gave Vrabel as a former teammate, now he's a head coach. Were you had some questions about this team when Derrick Henry went down, Bruce?
I did not know if they would stay the course. Okay, now Tannehill, it's on you. I thought it might be a little bit, right? I mean, okay, now you have to spread it around, but no, those numbers say, Vrabel said, nuh-uh, it's who we are, we're still going to run.
Over the long haul, those numbers say that, but there was a stretch there where they lost their identity. Randy, you mentioned they brought in Adrian Peterson. They were looking for who's the guy that's going to step up. Foreman stepped up, but in the last matchup against Houston, they got embarrassed. Like Houston brought it to them. They caused turnovers. I think they turned it over 5 times. It was probably the worst game that Ryan Tannehill had. So this is a matchup. People might look at the win-loss record and say, oh, Tennessee's going to handle this one.
No,
go watch the film of the last time these two teams played. It was the opposite.
What's funny, though, is that this offense, all right, we talk about that. Now it's consistent because of the running game and all that. The thing that I thought they had to improve on the most going into the season was their third down defense. They were awful last year, dead last. Now they're 6th in the NFL. And you know what? Let me introduce you to the defense. In case you didn't know, this Jeffrey Simmons, this big, huge monster that should have gone to the Pro Bowl with that big, look at that red thing on his arm.
What's it for, Rex?
I don't know, but he looks good with that thing.
Style.
They got him inside. Oh, and they got an outside rusher right there. Harold Landry. And here's another guy who should have gone to the Pro Bowl. By the way, I don't know.
What's the thing on his arm for, Rex?
And I must mean you're a hell of a player because Kevin Byard right here, who is a heck of a football player, going to the Pro Bowl, an all-pro safety. I think this is his 4th trip right there. But this guy right there, best ball hocking safety in the league. I mean, and he's got one of them red things on. I think the entire, if I'm a coach, I put the red thing on. Because these dudes can ball.
It's like when you go to a club, you get like a special wristband to go in like VIP areas.
I'm putting that red thing on.
Tennessee Titans, send us a red sleeve, please. We need to wear those.
I can't wait to see how many more guys are wearing them next week. That's good stuff. It's going to be fun to watch in Houston. Time now for Seconds to Schefter. Take it around.
All right, Sam, firing season usually occurs after the conclusion of the regular season. But before it even begins, it's already underway. The Broncos fired Vic Fangio this morning. He had a 19-30 record. Vic Fangio and his assistants sent packing. Vic will be a valued defensive coordinator somewhere in the league. And the Denver Broncos would like and be interested in Dan Quinn. There'll be a lot of people interested in Dan Quinn, but the Dallas Cowboys don't want to lose Dan Quinn. And Dan Quinn isn't all that old about leaving Dallas in the first place. And Carolina eyeing Bill O'Brien, Jay Gruden for its offensive coordinator job, Sam.
Adam, let's go back to Jacksonville where we find Carson Wentz and the 9-7 Colts. This is a big one for them, and a lot of other teams are watching this one too. A lot of fallout depending on if the Jags can pull off the upset. Carson Wentz and the Colts win, and they're in the National Football League playoffs. Still to come on Countdown today. Get our first look at the new Bucs offense without AB and Chris Godwin. We'll tell you which guy will fill their spot and keep rolling into the playoffs. And a lot of teams are looking to put their playoff tickets today, but there's some cash money on the line. We're breaking down the biggest paydays at stake in another edition of Straight Cash, homie.
We don't write checks on here, bro.
I don't know about you, but I feel good. I don't know about.
Welcome back to Sunday NFL Countdown, presented by Snickers.
You don't write checks. How do you pay these guys?
Straight cash, homie.
Living to the bank. Ha ha ha.
I was getting fined for the Green Bay Moon incident, and some man asked me something about, well, how are you paid to fine? We don't write checks on here, bro. So here's the
You have your own interpretation on whatever it means.
Yeah.
It means all business. Straight cash, homie. Get out my face.
straight cash, homie.
Left to the bank. Ha ha. How many cars?
To get out my face was a nice touch there, Teddy. Look at today for some potential big paydays. That's why we're talking Straight Cash, homie. It's incentive day, so we brought in Adam Schefter to break it all down for us. Who is our first contestant, Mr. Schefter?
All right, Sam, A.J. Green already has gotten $1 million in incentives, but he needs 75 receiving yards today for $250,000 more in incentives. So, Matt, straight cash or no cash, homie?
Oh, Adam Schefter, straight cash. 75 yards for a guy like A.J. Green? That's easy money. Pay that man.
All right.
All
I
right.
always wanted to do this.
You never
Our next contestant, Hassan Reddick, needs 2 sacks for $1 million. 2 sacks today. So, Teddy, straight cash, homie, or no cash, homie?
Ooh, so Hassan Reddick, he's up against Tom Brady and them Tampa Bay Buccaneers, correct?
Yeah.
You got Donovan Smith on one side, Tristan Wirfs on the other. Brady's going to get rid of that football in 2.5 or less. So, 2 sacks. I say no cash. Give it your best, Hassan. I know you can get
he
after,
doesn't
but no
believe in you.
cash.
All right, Rex, Preston Smith needs 1 sack today for $1.25 million. Straight cash, homie, or no cash?
Hold on, wait. Let me take care of Preston Smith. Yeah, how much is the money?
$1.25 million.
$1.25 million, and he's gonna probably get a first round bye. Let me see how much I got in here for Mr. Preston Smith. Preston Smith, straight cash. Hey, Matt, let me borrow some of yours. Let me get one $100 bill. Man, you talking about straight cash, homie, man. Get a man some rest. I only see him playing or resting the third of this game and gets another week off, 2 weeks off. But get this man his straight cash, homie. He'll get that sack, Adam, no doubt.
Okay, so Rex, sorry about that.
Rex
Our
wants to
next
play.
contestant,
They look alike.
Rob Gronkowski. Rob needs basically 7 receptions for $500,000, 85 receiving yards for another $500,000. So if he goes 7 for 85 today, that's $1 million. Straight cash, homie, or no cash, homie?
No, I'm going to say no cash, homie. You know why? Because they don't want him to get hit that much, and I'm going to take his cash and use it tonight to give me a couple of margaritas. You know what I mean? No cash, homie, for you, Gronk.
All right, what's next? Is that it?
That's it. We did it.
I'll bring some home. Straight cash, homie.
I would have given it to all of them. All right, good stuff, guys. Another special edition of Straight Cash, homie. You get it once a year, and that's why.
I like this money.
TJ, we know you like money, Randy.
There's a guy.
Doing all right.
There's a guy.
TJ Watt, a big chance today. 1 more sack. Who thinks he gets it? Sack, no sack?
I think he gets it.
Oh, everybody.
He's going to get it.
That's straight cash, homie, right there. Guaranteed.
Yes.
That's what I'm doing.
He already got
debate
cash.
there.
In
Still to
history.
come on Countdown. The Steelers and the Ravens are both clear to the playoff hopes before they square off. Lewis reveals Big Ben's impact on the NFL's toughest rivalry for his final game in Baltimore. And as the Rams look to clinch the division today against Niners, Cooper Kupp has a triple crown at stake. We're taking an inside look at his record-setting season with the help of a triple crown winning jockey.
I'm Nick Smith, and if anyone knows how hard the Triple Crown is, it's me.
It would be a pretty incredible thing.
I saw the fire in your eyes.
Sunday NFL Countdown presented by Snickers. It's brought to you by the Bob's Burgers movie. Don't miss the new trailer during the College Football Championship National Playoff game tomorrow.
Not just playoffs on the line for Niners Rams. It's a big day for Cooper Kupp as he tries to secure the triple crown, leading the league in receptions, receiving yards, and touchdown catches. Not an easy feat. Winning the triple crown is no walk in the park, as jockey Mike Smith knows from experience.
We are ready for a start. They're up, and they're into the stretch. And now he's done immortal. He's a triple crown winner.
So this is the triple crown trophy that jockeys receive. This is what you'd call the Holy Grail right there, buddy. I'm Mike Smith, and if anyone knows how hard the triple crown is, it's me.
Mike Smith goes to a right on Justify, and they're into the stretch. And Mike Smith goes to the whip on Justify.
What's amazing about being blessed to have won the Triple Crown is, man, you can just look back on it and say, man, I won the Triple Crown. What else is there? It's the greatest feeling ever.
I think it's a testament to the production. You know, we start talking about catches, yards, touchdowns. It's unbelievable.
It'd be a very cool thing just because of the respect to have the players in this league and the talent that there is.
How many people have achieved Triple Crown in football receivers? I was born in '66, so there's only been 3 since I was born.
They didn't have a chance. That's right to me right there. That's right.
Rams is my home team. You know, I used to actually race around that stadium right there where they were playing, so it was really extra special for me to get back there and see the game. Cooper had a big game that afternoon, and the team won, and it was a lot of fun.
Touchdown Cooper Kupp. Touchdown LA. Cooper Kupp with his second touchdown.
Just happy for him and his success, and you know, share a little small part in that is pretty cool.
I think it'd be pretty special. I think it's a great reflection of his accomplishments within the team.
You man, just keep being Cooper Kupp and don't change, and don't let it change you, man. Keep enjoying it, having fun.
But don't I make it look easy? Don't I make it look good?
Love that. He gets the vote of confidence from a jockey who's done it. Randy, how impressed are you by what Cooper has pulled off this season?
Man, I'm very impressed. Did you see those 3 other names that was on that list with Sharp and Smith and Jerry Rice? You know, for Cooper Kupp to be the 4th in NFL history, I'm very impressed. And the reason why, Sam, we talk about guys being durable. We talk about accountability, guys being there each and every week for their team, their quarterback. Cooper Kupp has been, he has done that. And I think that when you look at the Rams and where they're going, it's going to start and stop with Cooper Kupp. Yes, Matthew Stafford is having his season, some ups and downs. But when you look at the production of Cooper Kupp, man, you talking about
Moss,
it stands alone. He stands alone.
Which one's the toughest to get all 3? Because you're talking yards, receptions, and touchdowns, but which is the toughest to go with the other 2?
I think when you...
Is it touchdowns because you got to score, or because frequency on receptions?
Receptions are easy to get. The yards are easy to get because you're catching the ball. But getting in that box, that's the hard thing to do. So that's why I got to commend a guy like Cooper Kupp. And those 3 guys that he put up there with Smith, Sharp, and Rice, 3 animals that really put a stamp on the National Football League, and Cooper Kupp being the 4th. I'm proud to be able to be sitting here talking about it and to be an analyst.
And we could double vice you down inside the 10.
Absolutely.
Something like that. Yeah, to prevent
He's still going to find a way to get open. That's what's scary about it.
He says it's hard to score. You made it look pretty easy yourself. What a season it's been for Cooper Kupp, and it gets a lot sweeter if they get the win today. Of course, they can win the NFC West title in this one against the Niners. The Niners clinch the final playoff spot in the NFC with a win. They could also get in if the Saints lose to the Falcons. The Rams clinch that title if they win, or if the Cardinals lose to the Seahawks at home. Our Lindsay Theory is live in Inglewood with the very latest. Good morning, Lindsay.
Good morning, Sam. Niners coach Kyle Shanahan says that he knows who will start at quarterback, but has no intention of revealing that until game time. After Jimmy Garoppolo participated in practice throughout the week, it is believed that he will give it a go despite that right thumb injury. Now, the Rams have prepared for either Garoppolo or rookie Trey Lance and are intent on ending a 5-game losing streak to their division rival. I asked Coach Sean McVay, how do you make that happen? He tells me, I need to coach better, we need to execute better, and we need to take better care of the football. Jalen Ramsey admits that the Niners have had their number. but says they don't have mind control over us or anything like that, and adds that they're confident going into today. As for Rams quarterback Matthew Stafford, he will have the opportunity to clinch his first division title in 13 seasons. Stafford tells me it would mean accomplishing a goal that you set out to achieve at the beginning of every season. Sam?
Yeah, Lindsay, long time coming for Matthew. Let's get back to what she said about Kyle Shanahan. Obviously, he doesn't want the other team to know who he's starting. We did see Jimmy G out there this week, though, practicing. He's obviously not at full strength. Would you start him out there today?
Yeah, if he can go, I would absolutely start him. And yeah, I wouldn't be afraid to play two quarterbacks because there's some things that the young quarterback, Trey Lance, does really well. But I'd like to just show you the difference between a veteran quarterback who has all the experience versus a young quarterback who's still learning and growing. Here's Jimmy Garoppolo in the last matchup. It's just a 2nd and 9 play here. Always have to look at the blitz. Look at where you're unprotected. You slide the line, you need to look so that you know where your hot is. There's your hot. You got to get it there before the middle linebacker. You read the divide between number 2 and number 3 here. If you negotiate this guy, I got the slant if I like it. I got Kittle with the spacing route over the ball. That's now a 1st down. 2nd and 9 to a 1st down. Here's 2nd and 11. Similar play. Trey Lance is looking left. No. You got to look at the guy you unblocked. You didn't protect him with your pass pro. And if he does come, then I need to be looking at my hot. He does neither one of those things. So his right guard tries to take the hit off, tries to buy him a little bit more time just to get that hot route off, but he did neither one. So 2nd and 11 turns into 3rd and 19. Those are the subtleties that for a coach, you have so much more confidence in those situations with a veteran guy who's trained and ready. And that's not to say that Trey Lance doesn't have some things that he does really well. He's unbelievable, elite when he scrambles outside the pocket, and he's got a decent arm. He's got a very good arm. But given the chance, Jimmy Garoppolo with a really bad thumb, ligaments torn, will get the start each and every time because of where Trey Lance is in his development right now.
Yeah, and I've been critical of Jimmy G this year, but I mean, just so much props to him for maintaining that type of play in a year where you know they've got the next guy coming already there. So I mean, so what he's been playing and getting through this injury, this guy still, I mean, what he did in Cincinnati, he still has those type of moments in him, and definitely he's the veteran quarterback paired with that defense and good play. I mean, taking care of the football, Jimmy G and this team can get this game absolutely.
Yeah, but you know, it's funny. I want to go to the other team with the veteran quarterback, Matt Stafford. The narrative, and all of us in the media are guilty of it. We all say this guy's a great player, always been a great player, just on a horrible team. All right, but when I'm looking these last few weeks, I'm not so sure. Maybe he contributed to those Lion teams in a negative way, because you turning the ball over like crazy. Pick sixes down there more than any quarterback in the league. Like, I'm not so sure. This guy's never won a playoff game. And so I think he has a ton to show still that, you know, you got to get your team number one, try to win the division today. Absolutely right there is important. But he's going to make his mark in the playoffs. And to me, he's never won a playoff game. As talented as he is, it's incredible that the numbers he puts up. My statement is, did he contribute to that thing with Detroit, or was it always his teammates? I'm not so sure.
You know, I look at this game, you know, and look at, you know, Kyle Shanahan's numbers as a head coach against this organization. So for me, last meeting, Sean McVay and this team, this is a redemption game for him. The reason why is because I said earlier in the show, he's getting OBJ involved in the game as of lately. Last 6 games, 5 touchdowns. But opening kicks, what did I talk about? The trenches. Trent Williams being hobbled, the left tackle for the San Francisco 49ers, and he is all of that. But when you put the pass rushers, Floyd, you're talking about Von Miller, you're talking about Aaron Donald. Those are the guys, his playmakers, Sean McVay's playmakers have to be able to put a stamp on this game. Matt, you're talking about Jimmy Garoppolo. I don't know, what's hurt, thumb, finger?
Thumb.
Well, with his thumb being hurt, you have your left tackle being hurt. This is the chance for your coach, you know, to really send the guys. It's not about blitzing. It's time for your stars to step up in this game. So for me, the main thing that I'm looking at, OBJ, we said it yesterday. In the field, we seen him Monday night. He had some plays there. But when it was red zone time, there was no OBJ today. I mean, that game Monday night. So today, I'm looking for a bigger impact coming from an OBJ.
If you can't beat him now, with a new gunslinger quarterback, all these new shiny weapons you got out there, with Jimmy G banged up, and this game's at home. If you can't beat him now, I don't know when you can beat him.
To me, it's a true colors game. And you know what I mean? When I say true colors, I mean they're going to come shining through in terms of who you are. Matthew Stafford. I'm not going to say that.
Don't do it. Don't you do it. Don't you do it.
I set you up. I'm sorry. No, I take it back. I take it back.
Hat and T-shirt on the line, playoffs on the line. I want to see what quarterback comes through.
It scares me, though. Such a dangerous matchup. You got this Hollywood Rams team playing against a 49ers team that calls plays like a service academy. The Rams, I know they got shiny toys, pass rushers. They don't stop the run that well. They really don't. They're 21st in the NFL at yards after contact. I expect the 49ers with a bad thumb and a backup left tackle possibly, they're going to run downhill at these guys.
Real quick, you're talking about shiny toys. At the beginning of the season, they lost their running back in Cam Akers. What did they search for all season? They found a running back in Sony Michel, but they activated Cam Akers, and I think he could be a difference in the passing game. He's up today. I can't wait to see his performance also.
Yeah, that's a big deal. If you can tell, they're all trying to jump in. Everybody's excited about this game. It's going to be a fun one to watch. Let's talk about what happens if the 49ers do lose. The Saints are the other NFC team still alive for a playoff spot. New Orleans will get in for the 5th straight year if they beat the Falcons and the Niners lose to the Rams. So, Matt, what is the key for the Saints' hopes to stay alive?
Sam, this defense has been carrying this team, especially the last month. Cam Jordan seems to go off in this matchup. You guys know, Randy especially, you know, there's some matchups you just play your best over your career. This is the matchup for Cam Jordan. He's fired up to play Matt Ryan. He's going to be the guy that's going to have to put his team on his back.
Well, let's find out who's playing and who's not in the games today. The most important thing for that, we go to Morton Adam for actives and inactives. What do you say, guys?
Yeah, Sam, good news here for the Green Bay Packers and Aaron Rodgers, obviously, and that's David Bakhtiari, their all-pro left tackle, is active for today's game against the Lions. He tore his ACL on New Year's Eve in 2020, had ACL reconstruction surgery in January, had a little scope in the middle of this season, but now he practiced, he's ready, all-pro left tackle. Aaron Rodgers has a pretty good friend back in that lineup.
And more, our Diana Rossini, who's in Las Vegas to cover tonight's Vegas Chargers game, believes that Darren Waller is going to wind up playing tonight against the Chargers with that knee injury. The Raiders can clinch a playoff spot with that win. Obviously, he's been out for a while now. It'll be big for Derek Carr to have back a weapon like Darren Waller, who's a tremendous asset to them. One more advantage for the Raiders going into tonight. All right, let's take a look at some of the other actives and inactives. Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow, Joe Mixon officially out. Jimmy Garoppolo is expected to play later today for the 49ers. I think the Patriots will have Damian Harris despite the questionable tag. Kyle Pitts listed questionable, and we know that Darren Waller is expected to play tonight. Sam.
Good news for Derek Carr there. Let's go down to Houston, shall we? Ryan Tannehill in Houston trying to make up for maybe a rough showing last time around against the Texans. What are you laughing at?
Check out his shirt. He's got the Houston Oilers shirt on. This is like a total mind cluster here.
I love
you got the Tennessee Titans, who are really the Houston Oilers, playing against the Houston Texans. On third down, these fans, if you've been a Houston fan for a long time, you're like, wait, am I booing you? Am I
What is
cheering
happening
you?
here?
What do I do?
It's all very confusing. What's not confusing is you win the game, you secure the #1 seed in the AFC.
Wake up! Wake up! Wake up! This is Sunday NFL Countdown.
Coming up, playoffs. Before the Raiders and Chargers square off with the playoff spot at stake, we're taking you inside the Raiders roller coaster season.
Man, he's going through a tough time, but man, how does he have joy like that? You know, how can he still be a good teammate?
Plus, how TB12 will need to change his game without 2 of his favorite targets. For the 49ers today, it's win you're in. But first, we've got the people's tight end wired for sound.
We're the 3 best friends anybody could have. We're the 3 best friends anybody could have.
And before Big Ben's last battle in Baltimore, Ray Lewis is taking us inside his impact on the NFL's fiercest rivalry.
He exemplifies every inch of what Ravens Steelers stand for.
All that more coming up.
Wake up!
Wake up!
Wake up! It's a Sunday NFL Countdown.
You're watching Sunday NFL Countdown, presented by Snickers.
NFL Countdown is brought to you by Under Armour. The only way is through.
This is Tom Brady, 5 Super Bowls. You got guys that are
2 years old when he first got in the league, so people be intimidated to talk to him or treat him like one of the boys. And I was always one of the guys that would always go at him.
You're too old! You're too old!
You're too old. Get them all hairy.
You can catch the latest episode dropping on Tuesday on ESPN Plus, and the entire series always streaming on the app. Well, Brady will be home in Tampa today. They don't allow old people in Florida, right? Maybe.
Oh, maybe a few.
If your name is Tom Brady.
Yes, seriously though, it's a big day for the Bucs after what has been a dramatic week, almost losing to the Jets. That was the least of their problems.
It's a lot of drama you guys create, but that's just a part of life.
We have an incident down here with Antonio Brown, and I've never seen this. He has taken his uniform, his shoulder pads off, and he has run to the Buccaneer locker room.
Wow.
He is no longer a Buck.
Do not waste my time.
He refused to go in the game. What's going on? I ain't getting the ball. That's when I said, you're done. Get the F out of here.
My business is playing football game. Imagine if a coach tell you get the out of here. Yeah. What are you gonna do?
What you know about rolling down in the deep?
Today, officially, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers terminated the contract of Antonio Brown.
Losing Antonio, it's just different guys are going to have to step into those roles and do a great job. And those are big shoes to fill.
If the Bucs are going to pull this off, they're going to have to do it with a lot of their key pieces missing. Tom Brady has at least 40 completions to 5 different players this season. 3 of them won't be on the field with him today against the Panthers. Of course, AB released, and then Chris Godwin out for the season. Leonard Fournette is on IR. So, Randy, I mean, he's pulled off some magic before. We're not used to seeing Tom in a scenario like this late in the season. What do you expect to see out of this Bucs offense?
Well, you would expect this being the last regular season game, and you would expect to see Tom getting some rust, but I don't expect to see that. I expect to see Tom Brady getting out there and working on some chemistry. And if there's one word I'm looking for, Sam, it'll be trust. And you talk about Mike, you talk about Gronk. I believe he trusts those guys. But going forward for Brady to be able to try to host a second consecutive Super Bowl with the Tampa Bay Bucs, the trust, Tyler Johnson, Cyril Grayson had a great game last week, and then Jalen Darden. Those are the guys that he's going to have to find some chemistry with. So today at home, I'm looking forward to getting guys like O.J. Howard. Cameron Brate has come through strong for this offense. So, like I said, Tom Brady's a veteran. A lot of people wouldn't expect to see him late in the season like this playing, but he has some work cut out for him, Sam. And like I said, he's working on the trust and the chemistry with his young wide receivers.
Randy, you mentioned Cameron Brate. I think he's going to step up big here. And another guy we don't talk about, obviously we talk about Gronkowski as well, is O.J. Howard, the former first-round pick out of Alabama, is a big target. I expect this team to utilize those tight ends, use 2, 3 tight ends on the field at one time, a bunch of it, and it's not like Brady's a stranger to that.
Did you see much of the 3 tight ends last week?
We did see a little bit of it, but I think we're going to see more of it this week. I do. And to me, I'm just saying this, because it puts the defense in a bind. If you are going to play small ball to that, in other words, bring a nickel into the game, then expect them to pound the ball on you. If they bring big guys out there, then they're going to throw the ball because these guys are weapons and they're big receiving threats. I think you're going to see much more of that personnel grouping than I think people anticipate, and that's what I got no problem. Look, I've seen Tom Brady win with a lot less, I can assure you.
Yes.
Yeah, Rex, you're dead on about what the coaching game plan is, but I'm going to say this about Tom Brady. He will always say the right thing at the podium. He will always do that. But when the game, like his integrity was questioned, like he was kind of called out this week, you're going to see a guy with the eye of the tiger when he comes out there, and I believe he's going to make a statement by how he plays today. Well, really, we need you? We don't need you. Oh, I got 4 young guys. One of them will step up. Do we know who it is? No. But I'm going to make one of these guys a superstar today. Okay, and I've seen him do it. Even when AB went and showed up in New England, and they went down to play the Miami Dolphins, what did he do early in that game, that first drive? He threw it to me every single time. Edelman's open. No, I'm making a point. I'm making a point with what I do with the football in my hand, not necessarily with what I say at the podium, what I put on social media.
Do you think that Tom Brady will make a point with the comments that was said that, AB, I don't need you, we don't need you? Is that what you're saying?
And I think it's a message more than being personal, because I think he lets stuff roll off his back like that. I think it's a message to our team. It's a message to our team. Hey, the team is bigger than any one person. Somebody goes down, we're good, okay? And there's no other quarterback that I would rather have other than Tom Brady to figure out how to do that with the football in his hands. I mean, just even go back to last week. We're acting like they lost the New York Jets. It was an incredible 2-minute drive.
Yes, it was.
Incredible. To go down. And then after the game, it was just like, oh, yeah, well, you know.
Like, just add water for the chemistry with any type of young receiver that he has in terms of the Grayson kid. There could be some growing pains, though, when you're trying to develop these young guys in. So, but this is the time last year also. The defense came in, right? The defense started helping them out a little bit. We got to step up a little bit defensively here now, okay? Because they're one more injury away from us, like, okay, who do we have? You know what I mean? So, you know, everyone has to stay healthy now, defensively, buy them some time, get them some turnovers, get them through the Panthers, okay? And you may have to do it in the first round of the playoffs, too.
You know how you talk about the wrath of bitter brew? I want to see ticked off Tom today. I want to see him just angry, sending a message to the league. There are going to be a lot of MVP voters watching this game to see how he shows out against the Panthers. Let's bring Mort back in here for more on AB in this Bucs situation.
I think a lot of people, Sam, have followed some of the timeline on what happened last Sunday against the Jets and his grand exit, certainly. And people wonder, after the game, you know, Bruce Arians said he's gone, he's cut, he's no longer a Buck. But it took until Thursday for him to be officially waived by the Buccaneers. So what happened during that time? It was just a matter of being procedurally correct in the eyes of the Buccaneers. Number one, they certainly knew this was going to be an injury-related grievance. You know, he didn't practice a couple days a week before because of the ankle injury. And then, so therefore, there was a lot of discussion between their own legal department, their general manager and management, the ownership, and then, yes, the NFL Management Council got in there, and it was a question of, you know, knowing that a grievance is most likely coming, they finally just got through it, and rather than sit there and say, let's suspend him, put him on a reserve for conduct detrimental, let's just be done with it, and that's why they released him on Thursday. And guess what? Antonio Brown gets his paycheck for today of about $61,000 in change. That's straight cash, homie, Sam.
And we'll see if that's the last one. Thanks for the update, Mort. One of his former teams, that would be the Las Vegas Raiders. I guess they were Oakland when he was there, but it's a big game for them today at Allegiant Stadium in the desert. As close to a playoff game as you get. Win and you're in for the Raiders and Chargers. Great QB matchup between Herbert and Carr. You could say, just win, baby.
The fire that burns the brightest in the Raiders organization is the will to win.
You know, it's basically our playoff game.
It's kind of a do or die situation.
I feel like that's kind of been the feeling around our team for the last month.
Pressure, pressure calls my name.
Yes, baby. Jackpot, baby.
If we lost any of these, it really wouldn't matter.
They can't stop us now. We got to keep going.
No matter where you're at, nobody cares. You know, you just got to win football games.
It's going to come down to the end, all right?
We do whatever it takes to win.
Just win, baby.
Under the pressure. Under the pressure.
Let's be honest, if you told Derek Carr what he was in for this season before he started, he'd probably ask for a trade. Or maybe he just wouldn't believe you. Unprecedented in so many ways, and most of them terrible. He wouldn't have chosen the story of this season, but as Jeremy Schaap tells us, the Raiders couldn't have chosen a better man to lead them through it.
It started like this.
For the throw. Drake picked the pressure. All alone is Sid Jones, and he will post in the end zone for the touchdown.
It just feels good to win. That's all we want to do. That's all I want to do. I don't play this game for anything else. My family's taken care of. I don't care to be famous. Don't care about any of that. I just want to win ball games and Super Bowl.
In the last 3 months, there has been tumult and there has been tragedy.
My emotions have been on a roller coaster, so to speak, this year. You know.
Coach John Gruden resigned after this.
Raiders coach John Gruden sent an email revealed Friday, landing him in hot water. He described Players Association head Damari Smith's lips as Michelin tires, dredging up racist stereotypes about black people's appearances.
New York Times reported Gruden had used misogynistic, anti-gay language in numerous emails.
I love the man. You hate the sin. I don't come that can talk. I don't talk that way. My kids sure heck will never talk that way.
Receiver Henry Ruggs III, suspected of driving drunk at more than 100 miles per hour. Arrest and charged after a fatal crash that killed a 23-year-old woman, Tina Tintor.
Last night, the Las Vegas Raiders released last year's first-round pick, Henry Ruggs III.
This is the case of the state ladder versus Henry James Ruggs III. He's number 20.
I'll always be here for him. That won't change. I'll prove that over the course of time. He needs people to love him right now. And if no one else will do it, I'll do it. This one hurts, because it really affects some families and affected some lives.
Cornerback Damon Arnett was released after this.
Pull up, I ain't mad. I swear to God, I will kill you, nigga. Everything I will kill you, nigga. You talking crazy.
Now the Raiders on the verge of reaching the playoffs.
Fires a run. Jackpot, baby! Touchdown, Raiders!
And it's been their quarterback who's held the team together.
I've tried my best to stay positive and just always be someone that some little kid that's a Raider fan could look at and be like, man, he's going through it at the time, but man, how's he have a boy like that? How can he still be a good teammate?
Lob on the top. Edwards reaches up and grabs it. Touchdown!
Statistically, Derek Carr is having a very Derek Carr season. Nothing more, nothing less.
Throws to the left, has it, and caught. Touchdown, Water.
But he's asked to do more than play quarterback. He's been asked to do more than provide leadership.
We got lead, and let's keep this. We go home and win.
He's been asked to be his team's conscience and its more compass.
There's a book on how to handle this. I don't think that there's a way for quarterbacks to stand up here and answer these type questions. It's not easy being a quarterback and being human.
On the field, there have been some remarkable moments for the 2021 Raiders. 5 of their 9 wins have been achieved only as time expired.
Good home. Yes, baby.
A modern-day NFL record. But this season, more mere games have been on the line. Much more. Carr's traits beyond throwing ball have never been more critical.
This is the story of our season. We're turning the ball over. Sometimes we don't get first down, all different kind of things, and all adversity, yet we find a win.
Let's be honest, this thing could have spiraled at any moment. I mean, Jeremy walked us through each one of those things individually. If that was the only thing that happened over the season, you could see if the team just fell off. And I'll say this about Derek Carr. The reason I think this team rallied around him is because that is who he is.
Yes.
He's not saying things written on some script from a PR person. He is as authentic as they come. He's speaking from the heart, and the guys around him, they've bought in, Teddy.
We talk about a lot of awards in terms of postseason. If there was a leader of the year, okay, it's Derek Carr to me, because what he did under all those circumstances and go ahead and step up to the mic, lead his team, keep the positive attitude, and do it on the field. Also, tremendous season. The Raiders got the right guy there in terms of keeping that whole organization together. He did an outstanding job.
And you called it. We all talked about it after they let go of the head coach. And, he was fired. Basically, we said, who's going to be the Raider? Who's going to be the leader? Who's going to be the guy that puts everything on his shoulders, can handle this extra load? It's hard enough. He mentioned it right there. It's hard enough to be the franchise quarterback, right? And then to have all this extra stuff. He answered the call. Like, his name was called, and he answered the bell.
Yeah, impossible not to root for this guy. Absolutely impossible.
We talk about leadership. That showed us on the TV, man.
Yeah.
That showed us leadership right there. I'm proud of Derek.
I think we're all in agreement on that. And they still have it all ahead of them. They have their own destiny in their hands. It's win and you're in Las Vegas tonight. The winner of the final game in the 2021 regular season between the Chargers and the Raiders secures that final playoff spot in the AFC. Justin Herbert and Derek Carr both looking for their first playoff start in their careers. Our Diana Rossini is live in Las Vegas. Doesn't that just roll off the tongue? It sounds right with Diana being in Vegas. First of all, glad to see you're doing all right. What's the latest on what the Raiders are telling their players about the game plan today?
Yeah, a lot of coffee and empty wallets at this point. But guys, listening to the conversation you just had, it made me think that talking to players and coaches with this Raiders organization, it was made very, very clear to me that their head coach, Rich Bisaccia, is the stabilizing force of this team. He's been able to put them in a position to get through all that adversity and now put them in a position to perhaps get to the postseason. But they got to beat the Chargers tonight, win, and they're in. And you're going to see a different game plan, guys, than you saw in Week 4 against the Chargers. What's going to be different? Well, we saw in Week 4, Justin Herbert had the ball pretty much the whole game. Why? Because the Raiders abandoned the run. I was told in offensive meetings all week long, that was the focus. Even if they get behind or they start off slow, they've got to stick with the run. Josh Jacobs, healthy. Not 100%, obviously. He's dealing with that rib soreness, but I was told this past week of practice, he looked really good. And the biggest news for this offense, I was told tight end Darren Waller is expected to play tonight. So what does this mean? If they stay focused in the ground game, Waller will be open in the passing game, so it's going to give this team so many more options. But the focus, no matter what, is to stay disciplined and make sure they stay focused on building that run game, Sam.
Yeah, no doubt, Diana. Teddy, is that the right game plan? Stick to the ground game and then hit Darren Waller?
Yeah, he's going to help out a lot, but there's one guy that you can't forget about, and a lot of people do, and that's Hunter Renfrow. I mean, the old saying is third and Renfrow. I mean, and this guy gets it going. I got a couple plays here to show you of him on third down and why he's so difficult.
Third and Renfrow.
Third and Renfrow right here. You see him in the bunch formation. Carr isn't even looking his way, but he feels and he always knows where to be. He senses the trouble. Boom, takes off. Carr now sees him, jump pass to him here, and he finds a way to get open for his quarterback, especially on third down, like that third down conversion right here. I don't know how you play man coverage on this. Stop, go, stop, boom. It is lost, okay? Wide open, third and short. Oh, yeah, by the way, let me come off my coverage, try to make a tackle. No, you can't do that either. So this guy is slippery. This guy is underrated. And Moss, help me out here. I don't know what kind of route this is. 1, 2, 3, 4. I mean, quadruple move?
Oh, my God.
I don't know.
Quadruple slant. A quadruple move
That's
slant.
what he does. But then, of course, one of my favorite plays of the year. It may be a punt return.
The awareness.
He does that, too, but the awareness. You're right, Hasselbeck. Oh, you try to run a fake on me? Wow. No, you can't do it, too. He got a little defensive linebacker in him, and that's why I'm highlighting this guy right here. So Waller going to help. Yes, Sam. Third and Renfrow, you got to stop him.
You know, when I look at this, you know, it was a great tape, Brew. But, you know, the biggest concern for me going into the game was the health of Waller and what he brought to the table. I always talk about quarterback's best friend is the tight end. And when you look at the situation in Las Vegas of what Waller brings to this offense, he is Derek Carr's best friend because he operates and secures the middle of the field. And, Brew, what you said, with Waller being back, that means that whatever Renfro's been doing for the 5 weeks that Waller's been out, now you put Waller back in with this offense, with the mix. I know Diana Rossini said they're going to, you know, establish the run game, but that play-action passing game should be huge this time against the Los Angeles Chargers.
Yeah, and you're right, and you refer to Diana's report there about running the football. They need to, and I'll tell you why it's so important, and she had mentioned it before. Keeping Justin Herbert on the sideline
is a must.
It's an absolute must, and the reason for it is, look, Gus Bradley's a well-respected defensive coordinator, but he's almost a 1 or 2 front guy, 1 or 2 coverage coordinator, and they play really fast. Unfortunately, Justin Herbert eats that coverage up.
What is that coverage?
Cover three.
All right.
It's that cover 3 sting coverage, and Justin Herbert just owns it. And so why is it important and critical that you maintain possession of the ball, convert on third down, keep him off the sideline or keep him on the sideline and off the field? And I think that's critical here because one thing, you can change your offensive game plan, but they really at this stage of the game can't change who they are defensively. And I think it's a problem in this matchup.
Yeah, you're talking about neutralizing Justin Herbert. There's another guy they got to neutralize, and that's Joey Bosa, okay? The strip sack king, okay? And when I was playing up against a strip sack king kind of guy, like a Robert Mathis, you got to think differently as a quarterback. And so we're giving Carr all this love, as we should. But I think the reason why we don't think of him in that elite group is because sometimes quarterbacks think, hey, interceptions are my fault, but not so much fumbles. And that would be my critique. If I had to give a critique of Carr, he's got 12 fumbles this year. It's number 3, third worst in the NFL. And going up against Joey Bosa, just like he learned the hard way in the first matchup, you got to protect that ball. And so if you think you're on a normal rhythm or normal timing, that clock, that internal clock that quarterbacks we all have, you're not against Joey Bosa. And so it fits right into what Diana is saying and what Rex, you're saying about leaving him on the sideline. Sure. sure. But running the football also neutralizes the strip sack king in Joey Bosa, and that's a real factor.
I'm so glad you brought up Joey Bosa, because I think that's an added element to this game. Remember after that game when the Chargers beat him earlier in the season and Joey Bosa got up on the podium and said, you can rattle this guy if you get after him. I think he said something about him being in the fetal position. He was shook.
I mean, this is a guy, too, that you know you're going to play these guys again.
Yes.
And you don't even care. It's like, no, he was shook, and he shuts down.
And
how would you feel?
Okay,
he wasn't shook.
Come on, no.
He was
How
mad.
would you feel?
He was angry.
Some defensive rusher says, no, Hasselback, you're going to get shook. We get it a couple times.
Yeah, and be mad, not shook.
And he said that. He said it's not about the facts of the matter.
Don't shut it down,
It's about the fact that he said that publicly, and Derek Carr came back afterwards and said, yeah, it pissed me off. And we'll see how he plays.
We see Angry Dash today. Angry Dash.
And the way to do that is to protect the ball, right? Not take sacks and not take strip sacks, which ultimately that would be the biggest problem.
And just keep completing the football. He's #2 in completions in the NFL right now. But let's get to the important stuff. It's time for Rex's DraftKings.
Make me some money.
Here we go, DraftKings right here. And we're running out of time, but here's one thing we're not. Last regular season game, Hunter Renfrow, there's your guy,
There he is.
I got Hunter Renfrow in, and you know my guy, Amon-Ra St. Brown. That's right. For 5 weeks he's been out there and he could not say his name again. Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Price is going
And
up.
look at this. Am I all in on the Chargers? Justin Herbert, Austin Eckler, and Jared Cook today. I'm not buying that Raider defense. And then you guys talked about Foreman, the big back right here. You're right, Matthew. When he went to #7, he's a different guy. You can count on it here. But I love it. Jimmy Graham's in there because he's cheap and he's a red zone guy. Let's tell the facts here. But
What's the name of this team?
This one is, I think it's a can't-miss lineup.
Oh,
Can't miss.
The only names Rex can pronounce are Clemson Tiger names. That's what I've learned. Hunter Renfrow, he's got that down. Still to come on Countdown. The Patriots aren't out of the race for the AFC East crown. One player Teddy has his eye on to make a big impact today and set the tone for a Patriots playoff push. And today, maybe the last Big Ben game in Baltimore. Legends tell us how the switch QBs into the game.
He simplifies every inch of what Ravens Steelers stands for.
DraftKings is the official daily fantasy partner of the NFL. And today only, new players can play free for over $1 million in total prizes when you make your first deposit. Download the DraftKings app and sign up with the code SUNDAY.
You're watching Sunday NFL Countdown, presented by Snickers.
The Vikings host the Bears in their last game today. Justin Jefferson needs 124 yards to break Randy Moss's single-season record for the most yards in Vikings history. I guess Justin had a little message for our guy. Check it out.
What's poppin'? Sunday, game day, Chicago. It's time to go. 124, 125. Away from the record. Randy Moss will come and get you.
How dare he? How dare he?
Oh, no, you didn't. Hey, JJ, I'm going to tell you what. I'm a big fan of yours, brother. Records are meant to be broken. You in Chicago, I seen the code out there. Hey, it's going to be hard to throw that ball in that code, but hey, 125 is the mark. I promise you I can't wait to see you get it, man. Go get it.
I love that he says records are meant to be broken, but it's going to be hard to break mine.
No. Go get it, Sam. That's what it's out there for.
That's awesome. From one receiver you love to another receiver you love, Jamar Chase
The
is
chosen one.
on the road in Cleveland. Doesn't have Joe Burrow as his QB today. That would be Brandon Allen getting the start in this one. They've already secured that division title, of course. Time now for Seconds of Schefter. Take it away, Adam.
All right, Sam, on the final Sunday of the regular season, it's all about comings and goings. We get back today David Bakhtiari, who makes his regular season debut from a knee injury. We get back Darren Waller, who's returning to the Raiders lineup tonight. We get back Cam Akers, who ruptured his Achilles last July. On the other hand, out today, Aaron Jones, Kareem Hunt is out today, T. Higgins is out for the Bengals, and Mort and I are losing our producer, Eric Diaz, who's getting promoted and who can't stand working with us. One or the other. Either he got the promotion or he can't take working with us any longer.
I'm going with the latter, but that's just me. In Baltimore, a true must-win between Steelers and Ravens. Pittsburgh 8-7-1. Baltimore 8-8. Most likely the last game of Ben Roethlisberger's incredible career. Ben has started nearly 30 games against the Ravens in his incredible career with the Steelers. 18 wins against Baltimore, including the playoffs, are the most by any QB. It's no surprise that the Steelers are still alive for the playoffs. He's only started 2 career games when Pittsburgh was already eliminated. The Ravens also still have hope. They'll need a win plus losses by the Colts, Chargers, and the Dolphins to make the playoffs. Look, it's a long shot for both of them, but for Big Ben, it's been a long shot of a career. For a guy from Findlay, Ohio, a Miami of Ohio product, to have an 18-year NFL career for one team, a Super Bowl winner and a future Hall of Famer, simply amazing. If it is his last game today, it's a fitting one to end on. A must-win, gritty rivalry game against the Ravens. For a guy who's come to personify Pittsburgh, it's as it should be. Jamison Hensley has the story.
There's a bunch of quarterbacks that you get chess match with. Looking across the field from Ben, that was you looking at Warrior. He exemplifies every inch of what Ravens Steelers stands for.
In this era that we have, where quarterbacks are untouchable, he's a guy that's taken some of the most physical punishment.
Roethlisberger, he's taken down again.
As long as these two teams in football are all going to be rival, but we've had some nasty games.
All you have to say about this game, it's Baltimore week.
A legendary career started for Roethlisberger during Week 2 of 2004 season, after Tommy Maddox was injured in the third quarter.
Knock him out of the game, and Ben Roethlisberger comes in like, oh man, this is barbecue chicken. We got a young rookie quarterback coming in. He makes a couple throws, and all of a sudden he's out there like Willie beaming with the invisible juice. You're like, ho, hey, Coach Cowher, is Tommy okay? Is he coming back?
What really stood out, it was just like how he didn't miss a beat. We did all their fan base a favor when we got Tommy Maddox out of the game, and, you know, history kind of speaks for itself.
The Steelers lost the game. Big Ben would win his next 13 starts. The following season, he helped lead the Steelers to his first of 2 Super Bowl titles. Some Ravens even believe they deserve credit.
I feel like we should get tickets when we go through like 70 because it wasn't for us knocking them out. Maybe they don't get that early Super Bowl.
And he's still alive. He slippers on a locket. Back the end zone. What a play by Ben Roethlisberger.
He was always going to compete. He always going to try to play. He gave body to the game. And that's very rare from a quarterback position.
It was Week 12 of 2006 when Bart Scott's attention to detail paid off.
From the intimate knowledge that we have of each other, understanding that the center always puts his head between his legs before he snaps, then I know I have 2 seconds to get the edge, and I made sure I didn't miss.
Down goes Roethlisberger. He's not getting up.
I've never had a clean shot like that. He ate. You know, that's why I always call him Myers, because right when you think he's dead, you know, he rises from the dead all over again. So I literally thought I killed him.
Roethlisberger once said of being in Ravens-Steelers games, your body feels like it's been in 5 or 6 car wrecks.
Anything I think against Pittsburgh is going to be a highlight in my career. As I'm going past my guard, instead of ripping, I decide to swing over him. I come right down, right behind guard. And so I'm like, come down as hard as you can and try to take him down. We get to the sideline, and one of our guys from up top was like, hey, Alochi broke Ben's nose.
I mean, I can remember looking at his nose, it's like an S. All he did was put tissue in his nose.
Even with a broken nose, Ben would lead the game-winning drive. In fact, no one has beaten the Ravens more than Roethlisberger. And no one has sacked Roethlisberger more than the Ravens.
They just beat, they knocked out of the playoffs in their field in 2010. I was just like, oh, we can get them.
In the 2011 season opener, Suggs sacked Roethlisberger 3 times.
Big Ben, you know, the quarterback, I can have his own, but it belongs to me.
Fans remember trash talk, the collisions, and the close games.
Steelers trailing by 3.
The respect, however, runs deep.
We respected each other so much that we would both come to the 50-yard line and put our hands on both of our chests, and we would bow to each other.
Now, 6,321 days since Roethlisberger's debut in Baltimore, he has come full circle. His final game could happen on the same field against his great rival.
his career began there, with us helping him out by knocking Tommy Maddox out. But hopefully it in and fitting.
How much has Ravens-Steelers been fined by Big Ben?
His mentality makes this rivalry so dynamic. I was doggone proud to play against Ben Roethlisberger for all them years that I played against him.
Rex, you were dialed into that feature. I think it's because you lived it against this guy, obviously from your time with the Ravens. What's your favorite memory? I don't know if you can have a favorite with Ben, but what is it?
Well, I got a couple of nightmares, too, in 2 championship games that beat me in. But,
too, yeah.
You know what I mean? But my favorite is when we sacked him 10 times, I think, one game. And he just kept bouncing up and all that type of stuff. But this is one of the toughest cats that's ever played the game.
Yes.
And so you respect the heck out of him. But at the same time, like Randy and I were talking, he says, Rex ain't going to be hitting like that today. I go, oh, yes, they are, Randy.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, they are. It's Steelers, Ravens, and that's what it's all about. He would be disappointed if you didn't hit him like that.
And even at a young age, just ready to go off the bat when he got in there as a first and second year player. We went into Pittsburgh with a 21-game win streak, and they absolutely drug us. And it was like Roethlisberger, the toughness. I mean, it was evident, like, man, they're onto something with this kid. Good from the moment he stepped on the field.
When I looking at Big Ben, I said it last week, being able to be in Pittsburgh for his last Monday night game, there was a lot of emotion. I thought the fan base, I thought the team rallied behind him. Now they're taking their show on the road, and I really see the same thing because I really do feel that the Pittsburgh Steelers, their fan base, they travel very well. So in a big game like this, it's the toughness that really stands out to me. As an offensive player, I used to sit in the meeting rooms to hear the coach go over the game plan. And the number one thing that I used to hear about Ben Roethlisberger, how tough he was. And when you get there, Teddy Brew, you get there to him, you have to gang tackle him like a big running back or he'll shrug you off and make a play. And that's been most of his career, am I right?
You're exactly right. Anytime we sent a DB to blitz him, we said, don't bother trying to tackle him. Tackle the football. And that's what we did. And it's crazy because to think about this, it all started in Baltimore, when he was there. It all started back then in Baltimore, and here it is. Here's a shot of it right here. Like he comes back in. There goes Tommy Maddox. All right, got him out of there. And we literally, and you heard that piece, we're all like, oh, this is going to be easy. And then right away we realized, we're like, oh, this is not easy. He did throw 2 picks in that game, but it was like, I'm telling you, they got something right there in this guy.
And I think, Randy, you made a great point talking about it was memory lane last week, Monday Night Football. It was the best send-off you could have ever imagined for a franchise quarterback in his last game in his home stadium, right? Well, Ben Roethlisberger and Mike Tomlin and company kind of put that aside until the game was about over, right? Until like the last couple minutes of the game and then post-game. I think they got to do that again today. Like Rex, you mentioned, it's a great point. His first game ever was at Baltimore. His last game ever probably is at Baltimore, but they're still playing for the playoffs.
Right.
And so there's going to be no scoreboard watching. There's going to be focus. And Mike Tomlin said it so well after the game. He said, you know what? It wasn't that hard for me because Ben Roethlisberger led in that regard. His focus was there. Like he fought feelings with focus, extra focus, and that sent a message to our team that that's how we got to do it. And I think like all the things you guys are saying as opponents of Ben Roethlisberger, the respect is there. I think his teammates have that same respect, and we've seen it time and time again when a player, a star player that you love and respect is going through something, your teammates, you pick him up. And I think this is going to be an emotional game for him. And again, they're not dead. They're not completely out.
He had a big moment last week, winning back in Heinz Field. But I think the moment, this game, I hope belongs to T.J. Watt. I mean, going for the sack record. I think the defense knows that they all know that they're still in the playoff hunt. And they got a few things to happen, but they got to win the game. T.J. Watt can break Michael Strahan's record, and I want to see it.
That's a big record, too. That's not just like a random record.
Is anyone, just always the start of the season, too, defensive players. Okay, who do you think can get the sack record? Yeah. Because we all know about the sack. There's no tackle record or anything like that. Sack record. Who gets it? I want to see him shatter it. I want to see him get 2 or 3.
And if you're smart, you would run right at the guy that's going to be coming with a pass rush as much as possible, right?
Yeah,
right. Because he'll be up the field.
Real quick, you said that these teams, both teams, have a far shot to get to the playoffs. But out of all the slate, I think it's 14 games or something like that today. Out of all 14 games played today, that game may not mean anything, but those two, by being a rivalry, they're going to battle.
It always means something.
It's always fun to watch because it feels like both of them, it means so much to them individually. individually, no matter what the circumstances are. To your point on TJ, though, the last time he played the Ravens, 3.5 sacks in that game.
3.5.
He could
What do you need, one?
destroy
You need
Michael
one?
Strahan's record today. He only needs one.
Go get it, Watt.
So let's hope we didn't just jinx him. Still to come on Countdown, the Bills are one win away from back-to-back AFC East titles for the first time in 30 years. But if they stumble, the Patriots can reclaim their throne. The 49ers can earn a playoff spot with a win against the Rams. We go mic'd up with George.
Watching Sunday NFL Countdown, presented by Snickers.
Welcome back to Sunday NFL Countdown, coming to you live from above the Heineken River Deck at Pier 17. Let's go from somewhere cold to somewhere warm in Jacksonville, where Trevor Lawrence, I would love to.
Oh, you meant
trying to play spoiler at home against the Colts. They pulled off a big upset earlier this season. Remember, they beat the Bills. Question is now, can they do it? Or will they hold on to that #1 pick in the draft? Time now for the Domino's pregame headquarters. For that, we go to Mort for the latest. What's going on, Mort?
Yeah, Sam, I actually have Adam trying to get into a wetsuit here to take a little dive into the East River behind me. He'll accept any challenge, as you know. But you guys were talking about the Pittsburgh Steelers earlier. You know, a lot of people want to put Matt Ryan, the Falcons quarterback, back in his home state of Pennsylvania next year to the Steelers. But let me just squash that. Arthur Smith, the first-year coach of the Falcons, loves what he's seen from Matt Ryan. In fact, he wanted him going in it, even though the Falcons had the 4th pick in the draft. And what Matt Ryan has shown Arthur Smith and Terry Fontenot, the GM, is that he still has the skill, the durability, the adversity, the toughness. He's had to play without, obviously, Julio Jones was traded. Calvin Ridley has disappeared. And Matt Ryan is their quarterback going into 2022, and that is not going to change according to the sources I've spoken to with the Atlanta Falcons, Sam.
Good to know, Mort. Thanks. From a team with maybe some quarterback questions. No quarterback questions here for the Buffalo Bills. They're playing the 4-12 Jets. They're 10-6 right now. Buffalo clinches the East. Doesn't that look beautiful? They clinch the East with a win or a Patriots loss. Big day for them. For more on this one, we go to Dan Graziano live in Buffalo for a field report brought to you by Windows 11 and Intel. Dan, what have the Bills coaches been telling their team about how to prepare for this one?
Well, the first thing, Sam, they did this week was take down some signs. All year they had signs up in the facility that said playoff caliber, and they changed them out for signs this week that say championship caliber. So the coaching staff is trying to sort of refocus the team on, all right, now we've made the playoffs. Yes, we can win our division this week, and then we're looking ahead to the postseason and the effort to win a championship. And the players have responded. Sean McDermott, the head coach, took a couple of young players aside this week to remind them that making the playoffs is not a given, because guys only been here 2 or 3 years. Making the playoffs is all they have known. Now, as they head into the playoffs this year, the Bills are in a little bit different place with their offense than they were a year ago, when the passing game was functioning at an elite level. They have a run game. Since week 10, they are 6th in the league in rushing yards per game and 3rd in the league in rushing yards per carry. A lot of that has to do with the emergence of Devin Singletary, who's really come on at running back as the year's gone along. But when I talked to Bills people this week, they were very proud that they were able to run out the last 5 minutes and 42 seconds of the game against Atlanta last week. And you hear this wind howling behind me. Both teams are going to want to lean on the run and stay away from the pass today, Sam.
Not surprising. Thanks, Dan. I want to go back to that sign thing. Does that really make a difference? Do you care if you're a player on that team when they change the signs? Does that help?
It shouldn't. It shouldn't. I mean, playoff caliber, championship caliber, it's good to talk about. I mean, coaches also use that type of motivational stuff, but it's not a big thing. It shouldn't.
I feel like it's like, hey, greater focus, guys, right? There's going to be some sacrifices you make. You know, you heard about the Dallas Cowboys last night, made some sacrifices in terms of like, hey, maybe I'm not going to that NBA basketball game. Maybe I'm not doing this socially with, an opportunity that I might have. Just buckle down and lock down for this championship push, and I think that's probably the message.
I think the AFC East, that's it right there. I mean, I'd see that too. It's like, all right, let's go get it now because it's in front of us. We want to be division champs. Go win.
All right, let's go get it. Let's talk keys for teams in the playoff push, starting with the Bills. Rex, kick.
Well, Dan talked about the weather. Then they're going to run the football and things. Well, you know what Buffalo has? How about a 6'5", 250-pound middle linebacker that, in my opinion, he is absolutely outstanding. Watch him here. His big body plays two guys here in the zone, high and low. He's going to come up, say, I'll give you that
short,
catch.
Rex.
Then I'll come knock your head off, and that's what he does. And look at the body here. Run. I'm going to play A to B gap. A to B gap. Look at that big body sitting in the A gap. Oh, you want to come back here? I'll go ahead and meet you there and make the tackle. This dude is amazing in coverage. Look at the link. He drops out, gets a hit on this little receiver. Oh, by the way, I'll use my link, 6'5", to make the interception. I love it. I had a friend who's a big Bill fan. He goes, I don't like him. And so I go, we don't know what the hell you're looking at. I do. This guy's a great player.
Well, I'll give you a key for the Patriots, and it's not Mac Jones. It's the defense and what they need to do, and it starts with Matthew Judon. He has been good at getting through the passer all year, but 0 sacks in the last 3 weeks, okay? We got the moves, we got the celebration, but we got to start refining it again, beating double teams just like this against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Sacking Brady, getting up there and just that quarterback tastes good, that little celebration that he had. The inside move here, this is what they need to see. Jones is going to need, and that offense, they'll need a turnover. They'll need these type of plays. Oh, the quarterback tastes good right there. There we go. Judon.
I hate that.
What's been going on in Arizona, man? You lose DeAndre Hopkins. Well, where's the production going to come from? Oh, savvy veteran A.J. Green right there. You see the slant. Can he still make plays? Well, right here, the single receiver is 3rd down and 4. Watch this 9 stop, Matt. Hey, that was DeAndre Hopkins' spot. When you're the single receiver in Arizona, single coverage, the ball is coming your way. Well, can he still take him deep? Is that against the Dallas Cowboys and Mr. Trayvon Diggs eating up against this double move right here? A.J. Green, all 3 levels. He can score from all 3. Get him the ball, Kingsbury. Murray, find a way to get him the ball, young man.
Randy, I'm looking for a wide receiver to step up. This might be the guy, Cyril Grayson. 7-time All-American at LSU. 4-time NCAA champion in track.
He ain't fast, man.
He's fast, Randy. There's fast, and then there's fast, okay? And that's what he is. What about in a 40-yard dash?
Get out somewhere.
That's fast. And we've got a 44-year-old quarterback that can reach with his arm. So, does this translate to the football field? I don't know. Does it? Oh, you should have been watching those track highlights. But hey, look at this. Did I just hawk him down? We'll talk about that some other time. But 2 minutes to win the game against the Jets. The speed demon outside. Listen, they got all kinds of young receivers. I don't know who it'll be, but that young man up there, Grayson, he said, hey, don't forget about me. Yep, never played college football. Never.
Yeah. Impressive.
Really impressive.
See what he can do out there today. That's reality. Let's talk fantasy with Lamar Jackson out for the Ravens. You could be looking for a last-minute replacement at QB on your fantasy team. These fantasy projections provided by IBM Watson show us that Lamar's backup, Tyler Huntley, Mac Jones, and Andy Dalton could all get to over 20 points today. Still come on Countdown. Game picks are on the way for Justin Herbert and Derek Carr. It's win and you're in. Find out who we're taking to lock up a playoff spot with it all on the line when the Chargers and Raiders square off in prime time. Plus, Jalen Ramsey and Aaron Donald look to clinch the division title today against the Niners. There's a man in the stands on their way. His name is George Kittle. He's wired for sound.
Pre-game HQ is brought to you by Domino's. Order something for everyone with Domino's Mix and Match menu. Order online and track your order. To submit a rookie mistake and learn more, head to SnickersRookieMistakes.com and follow along on social using hashtag SnickersRookieMistake.
George Kittle is off to one of the best starts for a tight end in NFL history. He has the 3rd most yards in any tight end's first 5 years, trailing only Jimmy Graham and Kellen Winslow, and just ahead of Gronk. He was mic'd up in last week's win over the Texans.
Hey, why'd you do something special today, boys? Why the f not, right? Be great day! And we're the 3. Best friend that anyone could have. We're the 3. Best friend that anyone could have. Then you're not ever gonna be us. Oh no. Hi! How you doing? Good. Hey, boys. Hop on here. Hop on. Get on your track, go.
Gonna trade left to the right. It is cut. Debo Samuel.
Yes! Niners win, baby! Oh, Happy New Year, Niners win!
He's a soundtrack Hall of Famer. That's why we always have him on. It's time to
He's
make
a regular
some
Hall of Famer, too,
Great player.
Time to make some game picks. You know who's not a Hall of Famer in game picks? That would be one Matthew Hasselbeck.
Yeah.
Regular season is coming to a close. You're at the bottom of our standings. And most in need of a Snickers.
Hey, most in need of a Snickers. Well, what can I say?
Rookie Mistake of the Year program rewards football fans who share examples of rookie mistakes they've made. Maybe they just need a Snickers like Matt. Entries close at midnight tonight, so make sure to head to SnickersRookieMistakes.com to submit yours.
Open that
One
box.
mistake will be crowned Snickers Rookie Mistake of the Year, with the fan winning 2 tickets to the Super Bowl in Los Angeles.
I've never been that good at predictions anyway, so it's okay.
All right, that's fair.
No
Time on that note, time to make some 49ers and Rams. It's win and you're in for the Niners. The Rams are trying to secure the NFC West.
There's just a lot at stake on this game. Sean McVay, everything that they acquired this year, but if there's one person that really stands out to me to be the difference maker, it would be OBJ. I said it the first time we seen him Monday night. We saw him in the field, but when it was crunch time in the red zone, there was no OBJ because he didn't know the offense. He didn't know the game plan. So now they're at home. SoFi, Matthew Stafford. There's a lot of questions. I'm going with the Rams, led by OBJ.
Everything about this game is screaming for a 49ers victory. Man, won the last 5 in this matchup, ground and pound. How could I go against them? It's easy, because Brew's going to take them. I'm 3 games back. I'm going to take the Rams. But I actually do believe in the Rams. I think they can get it done. You mentioned Odell Beckham. He has been a difference there. Give me the Rams.
What about your guy Elijah Mitchell? Come on, Elijah.
You know I love Elijah.
The book of Elijah. I think it's coming. I think it's coming. I mean, this is a true colors game. Like I said, is Stafford going to be the one that leads his team to victory, or if it's Garoppolo? 2 quarterbacks we've been critical of all year. I'm going with Garoppolo. I think it's his time. He's going to lean on the running game, and he is going to have the right type of mixture of play action. I think they definitely win the game. I'm going to go with the San Francisco 49ers.
Yeah, I'm taking the 49ers also, because I think the Hollywood Rams are a bad matchup for this blue-collar, physical San Francisco 49ers team that loves to just run the ball, eye distraction, and come right at you with more physical play. Kittle being back. When Kittle's back, Jimmy G has a great rapport with him. I think Kittle makes everybody better. Kittle and Debo on the field at the same time. You'll see guys like Brandon Ayuk go off as well. So I think the 49ers are going to shock some people today, and I think the 49ers will get this win.
Ayuk.
I know this. Oh, don't do it again. I know this is probably a mistake, but I am not going with the facts. I'm going with my feelings on this. Everything says the Niners should win. Recent history, of course. I just think, like I said before, if you can't win this game, why did you do all that? Why did you pay all that money to bring all these guys in? Why'd you get rid of Goff? All those questions come under more scrutiny, I think, if you can't win this game. So I'm picking them today. I think they get it done at home. Let's get to the Saints and the Falcons, because if the Rams win, then the Saints win and they're in. So can they pull it off in Atlanta?
You know, I really think they can, and if there's one thing that really has been consistent this year for the Saints, is being able to get after that quarterback in big games. And I think that no matter how people look at it, this is still a big game for the New Orleans Saints, but it's on the road. I think they'll get after Matt Ryan, led by Cam Jordan. You give me the Saints on the road, Rex.
Yeah, I'm with you, Randy, on this one here. And Cam Jordan, you mentioned DeMario Davis, Marshawn Lattimore. Dennis Allen's done an outstanding job with that defense. I love it. I think Taysom Hill makes enough plays to win that game.
This might be the best defense in the league, actually, and statistically, in a lot of situational ways. They are right at the top. I think DeMario Davis is one of the best linebackers in the league, hands down. Absolutely. He's played that way consistently all year. The defense has been the story. I'm going with the Saints.
Yeah, I'm going to disagree with you guys. I think Saints could win it. I'm impressed with the defense, but got a little bit of sporadic, like inconsistent quarterback play. And I just think about this Atlanta Falcons team. They're building something there. Are they a finished product? No, heck no, okay? But Arthur Smith came from Tennessee. That Mike Vrabel, stay the course, that mental toughness. We don't care about all the outside stuff. Let's just focus on what we do. And I think the Atlanta Falcons, they could get an upset win today because of, like, I do believe they're building something strong. And I think they have some playmakers, and I trust Matt Ryan, I think, more than I trust the quarterbacks in New Orleans.
Yeah, but one of their biggest playmakers, Pitts, is questionable today. I think that's a big concern. I just think the Saints get the win because they have more on the line, and I don't doubt that Sean Payton can get them fired up in that locker room before this one. They've certainly been there before, so I'm with New Orleans on this one. Let's get to the AFC. This one really is kind of like a playoff game. It's win and you're in for the Chargers and Raiders in Vegas. Who are you taking, Raiders?
Man, Sam, I expect to be in my pajamas with my feet up by the time this game come on. At home in Charlotte, North Carolina. One thing about it, they did not stop Austin Eckler the first time, and I really think he could be a key factor in this situation. Going down the stretch, Justin Herbert, talk about his basketball team coming to Las Vegas. So everything that Derek Carr stands for, I'm for it. I like what he's doing in Las Vegas, but I think Justin Herbert and the offense is going to be a little too much. Give me the L.A. Chargers, Rex.
I think these teams are so even in offense, defense, that maybe the difference is Andre Roberts, a mid-season pickup, Brew. All he is, all-pro return specialist. He's been that for years. I think he could be the difference. We're not going to roll the tape. Yes, we are.
Get it. Let's give this man some love.
And I'm telling you, this thing, when the game is so close that the hidden yardage from your return game could be absolutely enormous. And I think Andre Roberts, he's done it his entire career, and I just think he could be the difference today.
Yeah, I love Andre Roberts as a returner. I am going to pick the Las Vegas Raiders. I don't know, I'm going with my heart here a little bit. I think we're going to see a moment. I think so. And they've had 5 walk-off wins. I think it's going to be Carr, it'll be Renfro, it'll be Waller late in the fourth quarter at home in Vegas. The place going crazy. They're going to somehow, some way. I mean, in the first game, they were down 21-0 in the third quarter. All right, but this is a different time here. I think Carr's had that type of season. He'll finish it off right.
That'd be really cool because really the winner here is the NFL. How they've scheduled this Week 18, all the division matchups. Yeah. Game of the night, game of the day is tonight in primetime. 2 great quarterbacks. I'm going to take the Chargers in this game, but it's going to be one of those games that it could go either way. It might be one of those things where whichever quarterback has the best game, whichever quarterback protects the ball from good pass rushes, that's who ends up being the champ. But I just can't get the last matchup out of my head, and the Chargers ran all over them, like you guys said with Austin Eckler. I'll go with Chargers.
Down. You can do your push-ups while I'll do my pick. For a similar reason, actually, Derek Carr remembering what happened in that game and what Joey Bosa had to say means I'm going with Derek Carr and the Raiders. This fan base deserves this win after what they've all endured this season. You all right? It's a tight suit you got in there. You loosened it up yesterday. That's all right. I'm going with the Raiders. Great point, Sam. All right. We've had a lot of football this weekend. No complaints there, and it rolls on Monday night. The 2 best teams in college football, the Georgia Bulldogs and the Alabama Crimson Tide, take the SEC to Lucas Oil Stadium tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Who you taking?
This is going to be a great rematch, but I've been asking you guys all morning. It is hard to bet against a guy like Nick Saban. There is no way. I'm not going to do it, man. Give me the Bama. Give me Bama.
Yeah, I'm going to take Alabama, too. Why? Nick Saban. And they get the #1 recruiting class every single year. I think that's the difference.
Bama, Saban, give him to me.
Bama, young quarterback, Bryce Young. Really good player.
Is that the extent of what you know about Bama?
Is he any good? No, the show's about to end. I was giving you our college football expert. You know more than all of us. I was giving you the time.
Go Dogs, sick 'em. After what we did to Nick Chubb earlier in the show, this is for you. Get the win on Monday night. But tonight, before the late game, check out NFL Primetime with it's at 30 Eastern, only on ESPN Plus. The show's available streaming each week, so you can watch anytime you want, Monday through Wednesday. To get ESPN Plus, go to ESPNplus.com. Right after us, right here on ESPN, it's Women's Hoops. Kentucky against South Carolina. South Carolina, the #1 team in the country, 7-0 against ranked teams.
Sunday NFL Countdown is presented by Snickers. Maybe you just need a Snickers.
We'll cap off Super Wildcard Weekend January 17th with the first ever Monday night playoff game on ABC, ESPN, and ESPN Plus. Our MegaCast coverage also includes Peyton and Eli on ESPN2, Between the Lines on ESPN Plus, and our ESPN Deportes Spanish language version. We cannot wait for this. We hope you'll join us. This one's going to be fun too. Steelers and Ravens. You know what this matchup is always like. Rex, how would you describe it?
Oh, it's a fist fight. And I tell you what, you saw that young kid had that Terrell Suggs jersey. They are retiring Terrell Suggs jersey today as well.
Yeah, big day for T-Sizzle down in Jacksonville. The Colts in the tunnel getting ready to go. They win and they're in. Well, they look loose.
They look loose. They look good in that white on white, too. Sometimes when you go down and play Florida, they put you in the blue on blue and make you hot. It's all good today, though.
All right, how about these Tennessee Titans win, and they get a #1 seed. This is a big day for Ryan Tannehill and company down in Houston. Guys, it's kind of sad. There's 14 games today. There are only 13 games in the entire playoffs. We are almost there. Can you believe it? We made it through the regular season.
Yeah.
Longest one in our tenure, at least. It's been a whole lot of fun. We will see you in the playoffs.